soothing sound of waves. Ah, no, that's the dog licking your ear.
Biscuit.
It just might be our greatest scent ever. Now with odor-fighting power. New Game Plus with Oxy.
Sniff the difference. Hey.
Some things can steal your sunshine.
Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ-FM. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ-FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union. The best Giants talk in the Bay is on 95.7 The Game. Reaction to every pitch.
Miller throws. He got him with the fastball. Miller's pointing at all the Reds.
Every home run.
High drive! Left field! Out of here!
And every big play.
A little slow roller. Chapman. Barehand. Got it! It's your fix for Giants baseball.
It is a dream come true, but it's a very recent dream.
The Orange and Black Weekend Wrap.
And the 0-1. And this game is over. But it sure looked like Devers getting close to missing first base. Oh, my word.
Hello there! Welcome into the Orange and Black Weekend Wrap. After a Giants win! Yay! We haven't had many of those this year, so, I try to celebrate it when we can. I am Sam Lubman hosting this show today. Joining me, as always, is Dan Devone. We are back. We were both on vacation last week, Dan.
How was you needed to decompress? If ever there was an employee at 95.7 The Game that needed to quote-unquote get away, with Sam Lubman.
I will die on this hill. There is no one at this station who gets less sleep and worse sleep than your boy right here. That is the unfortunate price I pay for producing the morning show here at this station. But yes, Dan, I did need some much needed rest and relaxation, and it's never enough.
So I was flying in last night, and so I was catching the Giants post game. I couldn't watch the game, but I was catching the post game, and Tony Vitello, as he always does, is going through his post game comments, fielding questions from the local media, and I
remember that.
I don't hear Sam Lubman. And then sure enough, I'm like, something is wrong here. And then he says, are there any more questions?
Yeah.
And of course, there was one more. And I was like, there he is. For a moment there, I was a little unsure of what was going on. Nothing was right in the world anymore.
Well, I like to let the beat writers ask their questions first, Justice and Shayna and Pabs, because they got their game stories. They're asking questions that are based off the stories that they're writing. So I like to let them do their stuff first, because I put them a peg above me in the whole Giants media contingent, power rankings. They work very hard. I'm fine to defer to them and let them do their things. And
plus, they got deadlines, I'm assuming.
Something like that. They do have deadlines, but then I ruin that deadline. But then when I ask my questions at the end, that kind of extends the presser a little bit longer. But I asked because that was the first time I think Tony's ever fished for questions during a post-game presser. And my question to him was about the hitting of the rookies. Bryce Eldridge had a great at-bat in the first inning, drew an 8-pitch walk. Then Rafi hit that first inning home run. Yeah. And then it was...
you asked about another rookie.
And then, I think it was Kavanaugh Susac later in the game. One of them drew a walk here. Let me see if I can figure out which one it was here at the top of my head.
He perked up. He perked up when he heard the question because it looked as though it was something that he wanted to get into.
Yeah, well, I think it was... so it was another rookie who drew a long walk later in the game.
Susac.
I think it was... Either Susac or Kavanaugh, one of the two. I got it somewhere here in my notes.
It was Kavanaugh.
Yeah, it was Kavanaugh. There you go. And so, yeah, because my thing is just when you, especially with Bryce, like, I think Bryce has the best batter's eye on this team right now. Like, no one sees the zone right now as well as this 21-year-old who's been in baseball for barely 3 months. And so I like to bring that up with Tony. It's like, dude, your rookies really seem to have a vision on this strike zone. And he talked about how, how much they're maturing, they're growing. We'll hear from Tony in his postgame later on in this show. But he really wanted to highlight 2 moments in this game. One was a Elliot Ramos catch earlier in the game. I don't know if he meant the one in the 7th inning to start off.
He was talking about Trout shot.
That's what I thought, this Trout sack fly then.
Yeah, that was in the 5th, I want to say.
Yeah, that was, and because I remember watching that come off the bat. It kind of came off the bat in a weird way.
It looked like a shot.
Yeah, and so lines it out to left, and I thought I was going to get by him at first, like because with Ramos, he's getting better on defense. He's looked so much better on defense over the last month. But 1 month of improved defense is not enough to really change anyone's confidence level right away. That's just how it is. It's not so much a knock on him. It's just the nature of the beast. He made a great play there. Held things to just a 1 run, and which obviously was big for the Giants in a game in which they got the walk-off win. The other moment you want to mention was Logan Webb's 6th inning and how quick that 6th inning was. And I like the fact that Tony was just going into that post-game presser last night with guys that he really wanted to praise, and he was fishing for a chance to praise the guys who stepped up last night.
Yeah, and I thought the play by Elliot Ramos, and I'm with you, he works hard, though. You have to give that to him. And he worked hard during the offseason, and as long as the guy's willing to put in the time and recognize that there's an area where he needs to improve and is dedicated to doing that, I think you need to recognize, as you just did off the top, that he's getting much better. That was a hell of a play. One misstep in either direction. He was very linear. He got on his horse, took the right angle, backhand that thing, and that looked like a P that was set for extra bases and could have, I want to say, potentially tied the game at the time or at least brought the Angels to within a digit. So huge play by Elliot Ramos. And we'll get into this as well, but there's some talk about him now being floated as a potential trade piece with the deadline now just weeks away. And I'm not a big fan of that. Maybe you can talk me out of it. Maybe I need someone to sort of explain to me how that makes sense with a young defender or a young player who's only getting better defensively and is a right-handed bat that's only getting better and is still in his early 20s and under team control.
I think part of it is the fact that he has so much team control. Part of it is, I think, the fact there are some flaws in his game, but the more and more he improves on defense, you see the power there. He's a lot more athletic than I think people were willing to give him credit for. And that makes him both attractive, I think, to other teams. But again, I think he's under team control through 2030.
Yeah. No, so, not that late.
He
has arbitration.
He has a couple arbitration years, but he's not eligible for free agency until after the 2030 season or something like that.
It seems kind of long.
So
he's right.
Basically, the Giants got him for a while, and so they don't have to move him this year. They can decide if they want to hold on to him or not. I see where you could have value in trading a guy like Ramos, controllable, good player. You can definitely get guys back for him. It's just a matter of, do you think you'll be good in the window in which you'll have Ramos on this team? And that's a question the Giants have to ask themselves.
Well, I guess the question then becomes who plays left field. And then ideally, don't you want a young player with promise who's under team control, patrolling left field? Are you going to get somebody as good as Elliot Ramos? And are you going to get somebody as cheap as Elliot Ramos? I mean, it's the same thing with Jung-Hoo Lee, who's also being bandied about as a potential trade piece. This idea that everybody's got to go, I don't necessarily agree with that. I know that's sort of the mantra coming up here with the trade deadline, that nobody's safe, and everybody aside from that of Logan Webb is a potential trade piece. I adamantly disagree.
No, I think there are some guys who aren't going to go. I mean, Bryce Eldridge obviously isn't going to go anywhere. None of these rookies. But, of the guys who you would expect to be traded, I don't want to see Logan Webb go. There's an emotional aspect to that, too. I like seeing him on this team. I agree with you. I don't think Logan needs to go. Ramos, we'll see. Jung-Hoo Lee, with Jung Hoo, they really need to ask themselves, do they think he'll stick around beyond next year? Because now this year we've gone from, well, we got 6 years of Jung Hoo Lee to, he might actually try and opt out after next year, depending on what his market is like there. So they need to kind of figure that out. That's going to be difficult to do. But both of those guys, Ramos and Lee, I agree with you, Dan, they can stick around beyond next year and maybe be part of the next good Giants team. And that is something I want to talk about at some point later in the show, because we had Dave Fleming join us on the Morning Roast earlier in this week, and he talked about how the hardest thing the Giants are going to have to do this deadline is ask themselves the question, who's going to be here the next time this team is good? And if the answer to that if the answer to any sort of player when asking that question is no, then you probably got to move off of them.
Mm-hmm. I think it's pretty simple. And this just gets back to, you got to move Devers, you got to move Chapman, you got to potentially move Adames. Now, easier said than done. I don't think there's a market for Devers, so it just becomes a question that, the Yankees will take him, or there's potential suitors out there, but just how much of that contract are you willing to eat? That's a conversation that I would seriously have if I'm the powers that be, Buster Posey and company, as to just how much money are we willing to admit that we made a mistake here? Can we financially afford it? Because I think he's really sort of getting in the way. And the same thing with Chapman. Here's the question for you, Sam, and everybody else out there in 95.7 The Game. What happens today or this weekend when Chapman's ready to come back?
That's going to be a very interesting situation to see how that... I mean, I guess off the top, Bader's not going to be back in the lineup for a while. Tony said before the game he's still having setbacks with the plantar fasciitis.
Forgot about that guy.
Understandably so, because we haven't seen him since like mid-May, and the time that he did have was kind of forgettable. Oh, no, we haven't seen him since... when did the Giants go to Sacramento? That was May, right?
I believe that was in May.
Yeah, so he had that grand slam in Sacramento, and then I think his foot fell off sometime after that. This is all to say, why am I bringing up Bader? When Chapman does come back, maybe it's Chapman at third, Schmidt in left, Ramos in right, Jung Hoo in center. Not the sexiest way I'd like to distribute playing time and positioning right there. I like Jung Hoo in right field. He made a play in right. It was a base hit down the right field line. I think it was Soler was the guy who hit it. Soler not the fastest runner, obviously, but it was into that right field corner, right in that 309 marker. Jungie got back in really quickly to hold Soler to a single there. So he showed off the arm a little bit as well last night. Jung Hoo Lee, low-key, very good arm out and right. I never really liked him in center, but Ramos in right, Jung Hoo in center, Casey in left. Really quick, though, Dan, actually, I know we're a baseball show, but I just got a very interesting little bit of breaking news here. I don't think we need to do the sounder or anything. Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers head coach, was in a car accident during his summer break in mid-July. It's going to leave him limited in training camp. He broke his nose, 3 ribs, his hand. He needed 40 stitches for his face and suffered a concussion. This was in a July 14th car accident out near his home here in Northern California. So I just saw this story pop up now with training camp starting tomorrow. That's kind of surprising there. Kyle Shanahan on the injury report.
Well, if it happened on the 14th, how did this thing get smothered? Yeah. Wow, that's the first question I had. But wow, thankfully he's not necessarily okay, but at least he's alive.
Concussion, 3 ribs, his hand, 40 stitches in the face. The good news is officers on the scene have reported that drugs and alcohol were not involved, and both drivers were cooperative. No one was cited. So
shout out Tony Romo.
So it sounds like as it's as not awful as it can be in that situation, all things considered. But yikes, that is a scary situation there for Kyle. So hopefully he's gonna be okay there. But sorry to get distracted by that. I just see that pop up in my feed and I want to get that out there. But hopefully Kyle's gonna be.
Best of luck to him on the recovery. And he's got a good looking mug. So 40 stitches to the face. That's the moneymaker. Yeah.
Also, real quick, Chris Forrester, who is the current assistant coach and he's offensive line coach, he's going to be running training camp. So Shanahan will be involved in a limited capacity.
So, Niners are coming in supposedly with, a very healthy roster in a training camp, and training camp hasn't even started yet. Now the coach is on the mend here, so...
You hope it's not an omen of things to come.
Let's hope so. Yeah, that's, yikes. So hopefully Kyle can recover there, and hopefully he's not, missing too much of training camp. It's a very important season for the 49ers with the roster they have, and they cannot afford to get off to a slow start there. So that's what's going on there. We'll keep monitoring that situation, and hopefully Kyle makes a full recovery. So shout out to you, Kyle. Hope you start feeling better soon. We are talking about the Giants, though. Giants 7-6 winners over the L.A. Angels last night. Rafi Devers, obviously, with the walk-off ground rule double with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 10th inning. And it was a ground rule double, which everybody gets automatically 2 bases. Well, then why was it 8-6, not 7-6? Dan, I don't know if you saw the celebration, but Rafi hits that ground rule double. And there was a moment where I thought it was going to be a home run. Like, I'm watching that ball go, and I'm thinking, oh, my God, did he just hit a walk-off grand slam? Bounces over the fence to whatever.
And the outfield was in.
Yeah. Well, obviously, yeah, when it's bases loaded 1 out, I mean, you're just trying to get the ball to the outfield in that situation. So Kavanaugh comes in to score, and then Arias was on second base, and I guess rather than round third and touch home, Arias just ran right after Rafi Devers to go celebrate with him, so he never technically touched home plate, and so that run was nullified, and that's why the final score is 7-6 and not 8-6.
So for all those that had some sort of a wager on the over and under,
so
which
if you had if you had 13.5 on the over 13.5, you are punching air right now. So because the score initially came out as 8-6, but I saw Shayna Rubin tweet out that it was 7-6. Like, well, wait a minute, hold on, does that Arias run count? And then that's why is the.
Well, how about Kuiper's call? Did you happen to see the replay? Was he okay with first base? So Kuiper said, did he touch first base?
That's right. I didn't hear that call, but I heard that it was being talked about.
That was the walk-off call. He's like,
did Rafi touch first base?
Rafi touch first base. I haven't seen it in the replay.
Well, the Padres, or not the Padres, the Angels.
And the 0-1. And this game is over. But it sure looked like Devers came close to missing first base. Oh, my word.
Wouldn't that have been something?
Separate issue, I think.
I mean, it would have been
well, the run would still
been a modern-day version of Merkel's boner.
It doesn't really matter.
Who know.
Remember, Mark McGwire almost didn't touch first base.
That's right, on number 62. That's right. There's the famous, the first base coach telling him to go back and touch first. I remember that. There
have been runners who have been passed on the base pass.
Oh, yeah.
After a home run.
Yeah.
Which is an automatic
I remember, what was it, a couple years ago, more than a couple years ago, I think it was a Hunter Pence home run. Hunter hit a home run, but the guy ahead of him on the base paths was Johnny Cueto, who, rather than, take a trot around the bases, more of like a leisurely stroll, I guess, is what I would call what Johnny Cueto was doing. And so there's this picture of, Cueto in his starter jacket, kind of like leisurely strolling down the third base line, and Hunter Pence just kind of slowly huffing and puffing behind him because he can't pass Johnny Cueto.
There have been runners that have been passed, but I'm assuming if Devers even missed the bag, it's inconsequential, right? That's a moot point. The run's going to score.
I'm not sure on that one. My guess is yes on that one because it's an automatic double.
Yeah.
And Kavanaugh scored right away. As soon as Kavanaugh touches home plate, the ball game is over. Well, even if Devers is out, it's still only 2 outs.
Yeah.
But then again, the Angels only appealed Arias leaving the base path. They didn't do anything to check in on Devers there in that situation. So, you know what? Maybe the Giants got away with one there.
That would be such Giants baseball 2026.
Sorry, guys, this win doesn't count.
If that happened and you had the umpires gathering once again.
Oh,
like
my
they
God.
did in Kansas City.
Oh, well, that's where Tony would need to go and get thrown out again in that situation because that's just the dumbest way to end or not end a game. By the way, since you bring it up here, Tony in Kansas City, we all saw the interaction that happened in the 7th inning the other night. Ball down the left field line. Who was it? It was Pasquantino hits the ball down the right field line. Jungie gets it into second base. Willie slaps the tag on him. Right as Pasquantino's falling over. Was he pushed? Was he not pushed? Umpires say he was pushed, so it's a judgment call. Can't get reviewed. And you got Willie losing his mind, saying, Tony, can you get... Looking at Tony like, you got to do something here. Dave Fleming on the broadcast saying, Tony, you got to do something. Hunter Pence is on the broadcast saying, Tony, you got to do something. And then you got Tony out there just standing on the sideline yelling at the umpires. What did you think watching all that?
Yeah, I think that was Tony Vitello feeling as though he had, quote unquote, had to do something, but really his heart wasn't in it. And I think that's part of the issue. I know you're you're sort of a Tony Vitello fan, or at least more of a supporter than I think I am, and I certainly don't put all of this on him, but I think this sort of goes back when we talk about and sort of single out Tony Vitello, getting back to our Chapman conversation. I think, Sam, and this might be a little bit drastic in my thoughts, but I think that when it's time for Chapman to come back, I think he should sit because there's no room for him. Because then Casey Schmidt's natural position is at third. I'm not disrupting the outfield and putting Casey Schmidt in left field when that is a position.
I think he's done well.
He's done well, but learning that position at the major league level, I'm not going to compromise my team, and I'm going to have him sit. Now, if Chapman gets disgruntled, or if Chapman feels as though, hey, listen, man, I need to play. First of all, I'm the manager, and I don't want to disrupt what I think is our best starting lineup right now, and I certainly don't want to disrupt what I think is the progress of a young player that we're going to be heavily relying on in the future, that being one Casey Schmidt. Now, if Chapman says, I want to get up and out of here over the next 2 weeks, well, we can have that conversation.
He can waive his no-trade clause. He's allowed to do that.
Well, that's where I'm going with this. But you have to draw that line in the sand. And that's what somebody who has an authoritative position, or at least as a manager, that you have the ability to make these grown-up decisions. But I guarantee he's going to acquiesce. And he's going to appease Chapman. And it's going to get weird. I mean, Casey Schmidt, Jung-Hoo Lee in center, and then Elliot Ramos in right. For what? For Chapman, who's been essentially an average player, and obviously he's a tremendous leader and he's a tremendous defensive player.
Still a plus defender, yeah.
He is, but Schmidt isn't very far behind, and I think that taking Schmidt out of third base the minute Chapman's ready to go is, to me, a direct reflection, again, of a lack of leadership on the part of the San Francisco Giants. I might be overstepping, but that to me is what could be the impetus to sort of move him out of town.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from there, and we are coming to you live from the Laughing Monk Studios, Laughing Monk Righteously Brewed in San Francisco. The thing is, though, Dan, again, it's Saturday, July 25th. The trade deadline is 8.5 days away. Monday, August 2nd at 3 o'clock. When that time comes around, Luis Arias is not going to be on the Giants anymore. I think it sucks, but we've all, I think, hopefully at this point, Giants fans, you've gone through your 5 stages there, and you're at the acceptance part where it's just, Luis Arias is not going to be on this team past the trade deadline. He has to be moved. There's no point of holding on to him when he's going to be a free agent. Oh, maybe he'll come back next year. He's not coming back next year.
We know that as fact. I don't mean to be a wise guy. Just
am I reporting news? No, I am simply, these are the tea leaves that I've read and in the stories that they're telling me. So come August 2nd at 3:01, Casey Schmidt, you're the second baseman. So I hear what you're saying on this Chapman thing, Dan. I also think it's going to resolve itself in the next week. Not in a fun way, but everything's going to fall into place after that. Luis Arias is going to get traded. That's going to put Casey Schmidt at second base. That's not his best position, but he can play it very well. He plays second. I would say second base is probably his second best infield position. Third, second, short, first. If I were to rank his abilities at, I don't know, first and short, maybe he can go back and forth. That's immaterial. Basically, Casey Schmidt's going to be your starting second baseman in about a week's time. Chapman will be at third. Ramos will be in left. Cuckoo Gilbert, your guy, will be in center. And Jung-Hee will be out in right field. So a lot of these kind of stressful situations with the lineup and playing time are going to be alleviated pretty soon.
So if they have the opportunity, if somebody was to pick up a phone and say, hey, listen, Sam Lubin, the interim GM, we're interested about with Chapman. Are you willing to listen? Are you willing to, if we were to put together a package?
Bye, Felisa.
Is that something that you would entertain?
Oh, absolutely. All 3 of the big 3 are on the block, Dan. And the Giants have made it very clear.
So then what happens with Urias?
Well, I'll say this, and I've said this a couple times on this show and on the Morning Roast. My line is Luis Arias is a privilege, and unfortunately the Giants have lost that privilege, which is how they played this year. If, I still maintain this. I think I said this on the last Weekend Wrap that we did as well. If Buster finds a way to move off of Chapman and Devers, or Chapman and Adames, or Adames and Devers, one of those big 3 or even 2 of the big 3 preferably, then yeah, that opens up a path where you could potentially start talking about extending Luis Arias beyond this year. That doesn't happen though unless you trade 1 or preferably 2 of those big 3 because, Dan, the alternative, you're going to lock Luis Arias in for a 4-year deal when you got Chapman locked in for the next 4 or 5 years. Adames locked in for the next 6 or 7, the next 5 years beyond this year. Endeavor's locked in for the next 5 billion years beyond this year because his contract is super long.
Yeah.
Like, that's 4 or 5 years of that's your infield. You have no other options. Think how frustrating it's been this year trying to navigate that with trying to get Casey Schmidt in the lineup. So you can't have. So yeah, you got to move off of one of those big 3 contracts if you're gonna keep Luis Arraez.
Especially with all the kids that are coming up that happen to play as at middle infield positions.
Exactly.
I would think that it has to be one of the corner guys because otherwise there's no reason to keep Arraez.
That's another thing they're gonna have to figure out later on. Is you got your 4 shortstops there, the 4 shortstops of the apocalypse. That's what I'm gonna call them. They're gonna be up in a few years, but again, Josar Gonzalez, Luis Fernandez, Johnny Level, Gavin Killen. They're at least 2029 is the earliest they're going to arrive. So the Giants have some time to figure that out. But this year it's getting, what can we do to keep Casey Schmidt in the lineup? And unfortunately, right now, the most realistic path for that is to trade Luis Arraez. Not saying they can't trade Matt Chapman. Not saying they can't trade Rafi Devers or Adames. It's just, and we had Jim Bowden on earlier in the week. He kind of shined a light on. Someone has to want those guys. And
I hear there's no market for Devers.
It's just who wants that contract?
Yeah.
No one, like what the Giants did last year was they went in and they saved the Red Sox ass with that deal. And no one's coming to the Giants' defense on that one. And contracts like that are very rarely moved in season. And so you're probably looking at maybe in the offseason is the best time to move a contract of that size. Here's the problem with the offseason plan, though, Dan, is I don't know if we're going to have an offseason right now with the way the labor situation's going. It's like there's so much uncertainty with the CBA and what the next labor deal is going to look like. Will there be a salary cap? Will there not? Like, no one wants to take on a Rafi Devers contract right now when there's so much uncertainty in terms of what the finances of baseball are going to look like beyond the end of this October.
Yeah, and I think that he's really turning into a huge mistake here because and he's playing well. I mean,
we say this the morning after he hit a walk-off ground rule double and hit his 21st home run, and he's playing actually really well over the last few months.
He really has. But I guess the question is that you have to separate what it is that he's doing at the plate, and the guy can hit doubles and home runs and hit for average. He can mash. There's no doubt about it. But I would just ask you this: is he a winner? Like that's how you win. Is he a winner? Is he a winner?
2010 is he a winner? Is he a guy that gets numbers?
Yeah, and so you want to surround yourself, especially Buster Posey has to recognize this. And so I always, I'm a firm believer, and I always go back to that 2010 team where it was like, well, who are these guys? Well, they had a winning mentality. So that's really gets in the way. And I don't think that at age 21, Bryce Eldridge should be a DH. Even though he's always been
He's been playing a lot more first base lately, though. I think they are trying to get him more action there as this year goes along. Speaking of Bryce Eldridge, I should hear from Bryce a little bit on this show later this morning. I had a chance to catch up with Bryce yesterday. We had a quick conversation. It was about 4.5, 5 minutes long, so we'll play that later in the show. What
do you think his 40 time is?
Not good.
Over 5?
I mean, the guy could clear so much space in one step. The problem is his legs move so slow, so we're going to have to get him to go faster there. But I didn't ask him about his running, Dan. Actually, you know what? I asked him about what he was like as a pitcher. He talked about that. So we got into that a little bit and what he did in the All-Star break. It was a quick conversation. So I'll play that probably sometime in our 11 o'clock hour. A little quick hitter there. We will hear from Bryce Eldridge. On the other side, though, we're going to hear from Philmo Mike. He's waiting on hold. He's got some thoughts on Matt Chapman. We'll get him on. We're going to hear from our guy Ruderman later in the show.
The Ruderman replay.
As well. Of course, we always got to get the Ruderman replay in at some point in the show. So I'll have Risotto text him and wake him up and see if we can get him on sometime soon. And, on the other side, eventually I want to start getting into things here. Dave Fleming was on the show. He talked about the harder decisions the Giants need to make in terms of who's going to be around the next time this team is good. I want to peel that back a little bit. Also, Larry Baer said some stuff on a radio station this week that might be worth diving into. Talked about being anti-rebuild. What are the Giants doing right now? Anyway, all that more is brought to you by Fremont Bank, here for you, here for good.
Hey, it's Willard and Dibbs for Safeway. Enjoy these amazing deals for members. And as always, save up to 20% weekly on hundreds of exclusive offers from Safeway. Just clip the highlighted deals from the weekly mailer or click the deals in the For You section of the Safeway app to breeze through checkout. Buy one, get one free of equal or lesser value on juicy, personal, seedless watermelons when you buy two. And here's my personal partner, Dan Dibley.
Yes, and you can get Signature Select Thick Cut Bacon 48-ounce selected varieties sold in 3-pound packages for $4.99 per pound. 10 for $10 mix and match is back. Save on items like Pastaroni or Rice-A-Roni, 4.3 to 7.2 ounce varieties, or Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water gallon size. Add CRV where applicable. Member price $1 each for selected varieties. See your store for a full list of participating items.
We invite you to go to Safeway.com for more of these details, and we will see you in the aisles.
In 2026, Bay Alarm celebrates 80 years of security. With burglar and fire alarm systems, 24/7 in-house monitoring, and local service, our promise to the Bay Area remains the same. We got you. Learn more at bayalarm.com.
You only get one shot at this. One chance to handle your injury case the right way. One chance to get the compensation you actually need. And one chance to protect your future. And once you make the wrong move, you don't get a do-over. Sign too early, it's final. Say the wrong thing, it's recorded. Take a low offer, you can't go back. Before you make any decisions, call Beam Law. They'll step in immediately, guiding you, protecting you, and making sure every move is made with your best outcome in mind. Beam Law has recovered millions for clients across the Bay Area and has been named Best of the Bay by SF Weekly 4 times. If you've been injured or lost someone due to someone else's negligence, don't take that risk. Call Beam Law now at 415-523-5555, 415-523-5555. That's 415-523-5555, or visit hurtinthebay.com. That's hurtinthebay.com, because it's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get back up. Beam Law, they've got your back, Bay Area.
Here's good news for folks who have a jumbo loan. The Loan Exchange, America's jumbo lender, is offering a 30-year fixed-rate loan at a 5.75% interest rate and 5.939% APR for loan amounts up to $3 million. So if you have a mortgage with an interest rate of 6% or higher, give America's jumbo lender a call at 833-436-8800. You drive around to find the cheapest gas, so why not refinance your mortgage? Every day you wait, you're wasting money on needless interest. Go to theloanexchange.com or call 833-436-8800 to find out what your savings will be with a new 30-year fixed-rate loan at 5.75% interest rate and 5.939% APR. NMLS 1637539. Loan subject to credit approval. See website for licensing information, loan terms and conditions. Equal housing lender. That's theloanexchange.com or call 833-436-8800 for a 30-year fixed-rate loan at 5.75% interest rate and 5.939% APR.
All guests on 95.7 The Game appear on the River Islands guest line.
Dub Nation, this is Jimmy Butler, and you never know when I'll be on the River Islands guest line.
Dub Nation, this is Stephen Curry, and you never know when I'll be on the River Islands guest line. So make sure to keep it locked on 95.7 The Game.
River Islands in Lathrop is the best-selling master plan community in all of Northern California. With its lakes, parks, trails, and collection of new home neighborhoods, the good life can be your life. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands?
Look who has extra pep in their step.
Well, I just finished my to-do list. Gas tank is full, tonight's dinner plans are set, grocery shopping is complete, and I even got everything for those barbecues and pool parties we have planned. You know what's even better?
What?
Every one of those stops gets me a bit of money back.
How are you doing that?
By using Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app where I earn cash back on gas, groceries, and dining out. They even gave me a cashback bonus on my first grocery trip.
So that extra pep comes from all that cash back. Looks like I need to download Upside.
You really do.
Earn cash back on errands and everyday essentials. Download Upside and use promo code VIBE to earn an extra $5 cash back on your first purchase at one of over 100,000 available locations. That's promo code VIBE for an extra $5 cash back. Remember, use promo code VIBE.
Offers vary by user and location of participating merchants. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
The San Francisco Marathon is right around the corner, Sunday, July 26th. Catch 95.7 The Game near the Chase Center Hydration Station as we're out there proudly supporting the runners. Get all the marathon details at 957thegame.com.
left field line, slicing and out of here. Devers with home run number 21. High drive, left field. It is out of here. And he knew it.
Now back to the Orange and Black Weekend Wrap on 95.7 The Game.
Dwayne Kuiper on the call for a pair of home runs from the Giants corner infielders last night. Rafi Devers cranks out number 21 of the year in the first inning, following up a Bryce Eldridge walk. And then Casey Schmidt unloading a 3-run home run deep in the left field seats beyond those Chevron cars out there beyond that 339 marker. And
oh, heck yes.
Dan, I want to talk. We didn't really ask Tony about this after the game, unfortunately. I meant to, but, we had to get on to do other things. But we talked about the big moments in that game last night. The Rafi home run was cool. The Rafi walk-off was pretty cool. Some of the moments Logan Webb had. I thought Logan Webb settled in pretty well after a bumpy first inning until, that fifth inning. Yikes. But responding to the sixth. The moment of that game for me last night, though, was that Casey Schmidt home run. Not just because Bryce Eldridge gets the ground rule double to lead to start things off. Then Rafi's up 2-0 in that count. And the Angels like, you know what? Go to first base, Rafi. We're done here. We're going to face Casey Schmidt. I remember thinking in that moment,
don't be disrespectful.
Exactly. Like, are we really going to do this? Like, you're going to walk Rafi to get to Casey? All right, Casey, this is how they think of you. Like, you're going to make him pay? And then, oh, man, did he stare that one down. That one had to feel good. We didn't get a chance to talk to him after the game, unfortunately, but I would love to know just what was going through his mind.
There was a message. He didn't leave the plate. And you know what? That was a hell of a pitch. It was in on him, and he just turned on that thing. Do you think there's something going on between those two and Devers and Casey Schmidt as to who's going to be the league leader in home runs?
Yeah, the team leader.
Rather.
That ball got Schmidt on.
He really did there, Casey.
Where are they at now? Schmidt's one behind?
They're both at 21 right now. I don't know. It's interesting back and forth there. I mean, I did not have that on my bingo card. Rafi Devers, Casey Schmidt battling out for the Giants' home run lead during a season which they're on pace to lose like 98 games or something stupid like that. But yeah, that was just he's had some home runs every now and then. I remember he had one against. Who was the one he had against the Dodgers last year? It wasn't against Yamamoto. Was it their close? He had one the ninth inning grand slam last year in LA.
Against Trinan?
Trinan, that's the guy. God, I hate Blake Trinan. That one, I remember the way he just kind of swaggered out of the batter's box on that one. I always thought it was pretty cool. Casey Schmidt, man, some of his home runs, he just got aura on them. He really does.
So you're close to the team. Now, I hear from afar, just like everybody else out there, I read this stuff, but I need you to validate a lot of this. Would you put him in the top 2 or 3, 4, 5 in terms of the most popular players on the team?
Casey? I think his popularity is definitely most popular Giants. Logan and Jungie are definitely up there at the top.
I don't mean with the fans. I mean in the clubhouse.
Oh, in the clubhouse. Okay, yeah, I'm thinking
I put Jung-Hoo Lee at the very top and then Logan Webb. But I mean, I'm just talking about in terms, because I hear Elliot Ramos is a really affable, hard-working guy that the players really get along with. And I think Luis
Arias is a very respected guy in that clubhouse. I mean, I see him, Willie, and Elliot and Rafi. They're always hanging out and goofing off together. Yeah. I always enjoy seeing that. I don't know if I'm not saying this like, oh, Giants hate Casey Schmidt. Like, I think he's very much a loved and appreciated guy in that clubhouse. I haven't really thought about what the popularity in the clubhouse structure is like. I've never really thought of that, to be honest. Like, because I don't know who the most unpopular guy in that clubhouse is.
Devers. Excuse me.
I was just saying myself, but I don't know if I count. But no, I don't know, Rizzo. You're around this too. How would you answer that? Dan just threw me a curveball here, and unlike Casey Schmidt, I'm unable to turn on it.
I would say he's got the personality of somebody like that annoying younger sibling. I think that's how Tony's described him, as like the guy who just kind of, he's obnoxious at times, but in a fun way.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of how but yeah, I would say
they
like him a lot. Yeah.
Like somebody that gets along. Like there's younger guys who can enjoy success and it can be disruptive.
Well, what's great about Casey, and I've had a chance to kind of chat with him a lot over the last few years. Like I remember when he was a rookie and he got called up, everyone was so excited about him. And he just seemed like this happy-go-lucky kid who's just so excited to be there and just play baseball. And I got him for a few minutes for a Garlic Fries and Baseball Guys interview. And I remember in mid-interview, he's like, oh, crap, I got to go to a hitters meeting. Just bolted off mid-answer. So it's like, oh, well, I guess that's our end of our Casey Schmidt interview. And yeah, he just seemed like, just such a free, loose kid back then. It's still there. I still see that freeness, that looseness, but there's more like a mature structure around it. I'm not trying to say that Casey was like immature or anything like that, but like he's so much more comfortable at the big league level now. And what I'm really loving about Casey this year that I've noticed is whenever you talk to him in an official interview, his answers have stayed consistent all year long. He's staying true to who he is. He's not really like trying to adjust anything crazy or anything like that. I mean, he's making adjustments, but not doing anything crazy. He figured out his way how to be good this year, and he's just sticking with it. And I love seeing that from him. He is just, it has been so fun to watch Casey Schmidt mature from, the happy-go-lucky rookie that he was to this just happy-go-lucky, mild-mannered veteran player now who has just set such a tone on how to be a Giant, playing all these different positions, not at all complaining about it, doing it with a smile on his face. Like, that's like, Dan, I growing up as a kid here, and I'm waxing poetically about Casey Schmidt right now. I'll go to the Junior Giants baseball camps, the Rob Andrews Junior Giants baseball camps, and they would always try and do like the hum baby attitude. That's what they tried to teach you, that hum baby attitude, that
Roger Craig.
Going out there, playing the game with a smile on your face, always hustling, always trying to be the right player out there. Casey Schmidt has absolutely like epitomized what that hum baby ethos means this year. And I just love this year really seeing him grow into that kind of player. And when he has moments like that last night, like, listen, I don't know where he ranks popularity-wise in the Giants clubhouse. If he's not up at the top, like, what are we doing here? He has to be one of the most beloved guys in that room.
All right, now take me to the other end of the spectrum. And obviously this is all conjecture, but who would you think, I know who it is, and again, I'm from the outside looking in, but who would you think are sort of the least popular players on the team, or maybe a little bit more introverted? Because we don't know. We don't know. It's all speculative at this point.
I mean, if I were to say introverted in terms of like guys who I just don't see interacting a whole lot, sometimes it's like some of like the temporary call-ups. Like, so when you walk into the clubhouse, the entire wall is just covered in lockers, but there are two columns in the clubhouse. Those columns house 3 different lockers that are usually for like temporary guys. So like if a rookie's gonna be called up for a few weeks, he'll get that locker. And then when it's apparent that they're gonna be around for a while, you walk in one day and says like, oh, Drew Gilbert's locker is against the wall and not on one of the columns. So sometimes the guys who are in those locker stalls, so to speak, those like guys only gonna be here for 2-3 weeks, they're kind of more quiet and introverted because maybe they're just not going to be here for that long. Right now, Dylan Smith, Jonah Cox, and Drew Kavanaugh hold those 3 lockers, though. But at the same time, like, Jonah, I see him moving around all the time, talking with guys, working with the coaches.
Let me rephrase this. What's Rafi Devers like in that locker?
I know where you're trying to fish for. I think people like Rafi in that clubhouse.
He's an Italian.
I don't believe he's an Italian, Tony, unfortunately. I want to hear from Tony in Oakland today. I would love to have Tony in Oakland call into the Orange and Black weekend wrap. If you're asking me to say Rafi Devers is not liked in that clubhouse, that's not my answer.
Okay.
Like, he's not. I don't think he's disliked in that clubhouse. I think a lot of guys in that clubhouse like him. I remember I talked to Trevor Story last year when the Red Sox were in town. I asked him, what was Rafi like as a teammate? And he's like, he was great with the young Latin guys. And you know who Rafi is really good with on this team? The young Latin guys. So he's come as advertised. Now, do I see him yucking it up with like Robbie Ray or something like that? No, but I mean, there's a lot I also don't see. Maybe they do yuck it up sometimes. I don't.
This is just from a guy who likes to read into this stuff from his couch. It looks like if I was friends with Logan Webb and we were having beers, he would say, yeah, Rafi Devers is not my kind of dude.
I don't know. I'm not going to put words in anybody's mouth on that one, unfortunately. I'm not, because I'm not going to go in that clubhouse and then have Logan come up and be like, why are you saying I hate Rafi Devers?
No, I'm just... Again, there just seems to be something.
Logan's got enough beef with Bay Area radio producers right now. He doesn't need to add another one on top of that. So, I unfortunately, Dan, I can't tell you who the black sheep of that clubhouse is. I really can't. It's just, I think one thing I think you can't appreciate about this team is they are still very much together. They do, I think, like each other. I don't see any sort of situations like that. So,
well, you could be right.
There's a lot I don't see, though.
Yeah, while you have access,
I am there for all the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday home games. I mean, when they go on the road next week, maybe there's a full-on Royal Rumble that goes on before the media comes in. So,
in a hotel room, or if you're out at a dinner, or if you're on that private jet after a weekend loss or yet another sweep and tempers flare, and then things begin to boil, that's when I think you really begin. So, while you have better access than most, I still think that there's
still gaps in what I see. I mean, even the people who have all the access, there's going to be gaps in what they're able to see and what they're able to report. So from my perspective, I don't think is
this team going to win?
There's no Lord of the Flies going on behind the scenes.
Are they going to win 4 games this year in a row?
Probably not.
Really?
It's just like last weekend, Giants get that first win on Friday against the Mariners. Willie hits that grand slam, and they went 3 in a row. You got Logan on the hill the next day against a Mariners team that's very beatable. And what
do you mean they won 3 in a row?
The Giants had a 3-game winning streak.
Oh, prior to the
All-Star because they had the 2 games against the Rockies prior to the break, and then the win against the Mariners there. I'm going to go to you in a second, Philmo. Please don't go anywhere. And then you got Logan Webb on the hill, and Logan pitched pretty well that Saturday. He gave up 2 hits, just the one bad inning. I'm calling it the nothing like it inning now, Dan. The inning where it's everything just goes to complete.
He had one of those
poop.
last night.
We did, yeah, no, and that the Logan had one in the 5th inning where everything just kind of fell apart. Though that was more of a baseball-y inning. You had 2 base hits that started things off there. But the nothing like it inning either starts off with an error or a walk or some unforced, mistake like that, and then everything just kind of falls apart from there. And he gave up 2 hits in that game. Giants took the loss. He's like, yeah, I'm the dickhead who ruined it for everybody. And I love that Logan has that high standard for him, but it's there's ever a chance to get that 4-game winning streak. And then they go from potentially a 4-game winning streak to a 5-game losing streak. Nothing like it.
So I looked this up. So the worst teams in the history of Major League Baseball, in the modern version of Major League Baseball, because there are some teams in, the 1800s that lost a crap load of games. But the 62 Mets lost 120 games. Considered the worst team ever. Now, I know this other team a little bit more intimately because this is a big year for me in broadcasting. I was doing a baseball show on television. But the 2003 Detroit Tigers lost 119 games.
Yeah.
They were woeful. It was their first year in Co-America Park. They won 43 games that year, Sam. You know how many 119 losses? It's a lot.
I mean, just ask the White Sox and their 14 fans.
That team in 2003, which is second to that of the 62 Mets, which lost 120 games.
They're third now because the White Sox had 121 a couple
I would rather be the White Sox.
Third.
Easy, Bonte.
That 2003 Detroit Tiger team won 4 games in a row. On multiple occasions.
What do you think is less likely to happen? A sweep or a 4-game win streak?
They got to sweep somebody.
I can see them having a 4-game winning streak, but it's 2 games against one team, 2 games against another.
They got to sweep. That to me.
Maybe they can do it against the Angels this weekend. I mean, God, if you can't sweep the Angels, good Lord, this Angels team, it's Mike Trout and 25 just sad cases of baseball players.
They get swept by Kansas City, so anything's. I would not. There are no certainties with this team whatsoever.
What there is a certainty is that Philmo Mike's going to bring it wherever we get him on air. Philmo, sorry I left you on hold for so long, buddy. How you doing? You're on the wrap.
That's a good one, let me.
Thank you, Philmo.
28 minutes.
Hey,
29 minutes.
It's 27
and
minutes.
1 second and counting.
27 minutes.
No,
I have the counter on my end. What? Well, 27 minutes on hold. Maybe you have an extra minute for when you were talking to Risotto behind the scenes, so I'll grant you that.
Yeah, I was talking to Pasta. Shout out to Risotto, one of the greats of all time.
Thank you.
I don't know why the hell we talking about the Giants because.
Well, hold on, Phil. What's this show called?
It's called Giants Weekend, Weekly Giants.
Close enough.
Giants Weekly.
That's probably why we're saying. Yeah. Okay. Continue.
But look, though, I'm gonna talk about the Giants, but I'm gonna keep it real with all my people that want it. If you wanted LeBron to come to the Warriors, you're just like LeBron.
Oh, boy.
Straight up. You're just like LeBron.
I hate you, LeBron!
Never be a GOAT. straight up. That's some weirdo stuff. You want LeBron. You really wanted LeBron to come to the Warriors? Anyway, though, check this out. Trade Chapman as soon as you can. You know why? Because this team is not about its defense. So why are you sticking around with the 230 hitter, 220 hitter? He can't hit for power. He always got all these excuses. Trade his ass, okay? We don't play good defense. So the person to trade is Chapman. You don't trade Arias. You don't do that. This is not a Monte Ellis situation where you trade somebody that you really love and like, and then you get someone better in return that you really don't realize what you have, but you have a good defensive playing center that can pass the ball and do what you can. Don't trade Arias because you're not going to get nothing for him. Keep your good baseball players that can hit. You know why? Because you're an offensive team. The Giants are actually a decent offensive team. If you get some pitching, some relievers, right, and some defensive, maybe trade Adames at some point, but you gotta stick to the offense for now. Chapman is the man to trade. He's the guy to trade. He's the name. He has a name. He has a decent bat. You could trade him just based on he's Matt Chapman. That fact. So trade his ass. Don't trade Arias. Re-sign him. He can hit. He's a perfect player for Pac-Bell Park. I still call it Pac-Bell Park.
I'll allow it.
San Quinn, a rapper, said some stuff about Pac-Bell Park 25 years ago. Yeah, Max Square Mark, historic like Barry Bonds, Pac-Bell Park. Anyway, though, what's up, son? Love me.
What's up, Philmo? Hey, thanks for calling in. Hey, I agree with you on the Chapman thing. The thing is, though, Philmo, it's not a guarantee. The other team has to say yes, too. Like, that's the only problem. I don't know how coveted Chapman is right now, and that is why I say Luis Arias is a privilege. If they can move one or two of these big three contracts, I am all with you on that one. I would love to keep Arias and move off one of those guys. Are you confident there's a team out there that would say yes to not just Chapman, but Adames or Devers? Because Buster could call all 29 teams and be like, hey, I got this guy. You want him. Are you confident that one of those 29 teams would actually say yes when there's other options out there?
I would not trade Devers.
Okay.
He's a stud.
Fair.
He's one of the best hitters in baseball. Why would you trade him when, just like your boy said, like, he's good with Latin players, right? Mm-hmm. Latin players are good. Yeah. We want great players. I'm not trying to be racist, but if they're Latin, if they're green, bring them on my team. I love it. And Devon, I love you, bro, but baseball is not about this ain't a team sport like that, bro. We need studs. If you can strike somebody out, if you can get some hits, let's get it cracking. That's the definition of a winner in baseball. It's not a team and all this camaraderie. You don't need all that in baseball. This ain't football. You know what I mean? This ain't basketball where you doing hella daps and hella handshakes and doing things in the air and no, it ain't that. So that winner talk in baseball, it really don't mean nothing to me, bro. For real. You get you a Dave Stewart, you get you a Madison Bumgarner, and you get you some players that can hit the ball in critical situations, and we gonna get it cracking. All that other stuff about winning and team camaraderie, you don't need that in baseball. Trust me.
There you go. Thanks a lot for the call there, Philmo. Have a great rest of your day there. He always unloads just so much great content. Philmo Mike on that one.
I disagree with him, but
hey, that's what's the beauty about sports talk radio. You're allowed to disagree on that.
I think if you can get a taker for Rafi Devers in that fat contract, you do it in a heartbeat.
So I want to.
It just comes down to how much money we can
really quick. I mentioned we had Jim Bowden on the Morning Roast earlier this week, and I asked him straight up, just like his Bowden, he obviously works for The Athletic, longtime executive. He's always hitting up baseball executives. Hey, who are you interested in? That's not what his voice sounds like. And I asked him, are you hearing any sort of chatter on these big three contracts? And here's the really depressing answer that he gave us.
Well, I'd love to be able to give you a name, but I don't have one. And I do try to stay in touch with all the teams. So I can't tell you that I've heard anyone that I've interest. In fact, when I run those names out there, I've had teams tell me, Casey Smith's the guy we'd like instead. right? And understandably so. Does he have 20 home runs and hitting 270 and can play 4 positions? So I totally get that that's there. So to answer you honestly, I've not heard one team say, hey, we'd love to be able to pry Devers, Adames, or Chapman from them. I have not heard that. I've got to be honest with you.
So again, that doesn't mean there isn't any interest.
No, you're
going
to have to sell low.
Yeah. Oh, no,
right?
You're absolutely selling low.
So no one's going to say we're calling about Devers. It's got to be Posey who's got to be super aggressive and saying, listen, we know that you have a hole. This could be a fit, and we're willing to take back whatever it is that you're willing to give us, essentially saying between the lines that you can lowball us. It just depends on what the offer is. That's on Posey's end. Nobody's going to pick up a phone and saying, hey.
Man, that Ralphie guy really looked great in my lineup. Like, yeah, Buster has to make that sell.
But I think it's fascinating because I've heard Casey Schmidt, and we haven't talked about that, but I've heard his name bandied about on more than one occasion. What are your thoughts on moving off of Casey Schmidt?
If you're moving off of Casey Schmidt, you're doing it because you think that this year is a one-off and you don't think that he's like, I'll be honest, this is very surprising, the power that Casey is showing this year. It's just a matter of, do you think it's legitimate or not? Do you think that he is a guy, because he's going to probably hit 30 home runs this year. I remember when Casey first came up, I know he was a plus defender with sort of a bat. And basically, that kind of reminded me of early Brandon Crawford. When B. Crawford first came up, glove first, bat second. And if that's what Casey Schmidt was going to be, sign me up. I'm all for glove first guys with a little bit of a bat to go alongside of it. I never saw 30 home run potential from this guy. Now, maybe this is just a massively successful Giants development story, and he really is this guy. I don't know. I don't want to trade Casey Schmidt. Let me just answer that right up there. I don't want to trade him, but if you are going to move him, it's basically you either think that he's legit or he's not. If you don't think that what he's doing this year will translate beyond this year, then yeah, I think you move him if you're the Giants. But yeah, I don't know if the Giants feel that way. And plus, defensively, that alone is enough to keep him on this team right now. Yeah, I think that collectively the thought process has to be that this is who he is going forward. I only say that because this is all part of his development. If he had been in the league for 10, 12 years and was having this one-off, then he could say, I don't know if he can necessarily scale that for the next 5 years. But this is all part of the growth of a young player. And by every indication, this is who he's going to be. Maybe he doesn't hit 30, but maybe it's 25, or maybe it's 35. We don't know. But clearly you can see the ascension here, as opposed to a player who'd been in the league for more than 4 or 5 years and then suddenly puts together this one remarkable season. Well, it could be a big step forward year for him. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be consistently like this every year, but he's looking like a guy you want to keep around long term. And so it gets back to what it is that you teased when it came to who is it that you had at the break that we were talking? Larry Baer. And Larry Baer is talking about rebuilds. Because what exactly is it that we're doing here? If you're going to move off of Casey Schmidt, and if you're going to move off of somebody like Elliot Ramos or Jung Lee, guys who are playing well and are going to be here for the next few years. What is it that we're going to do? Because somebody has to play. Well, what you're going to do is you're going to call up a bunch of people from your minor league system. You're going to have a bunch of 23, 24-year-olds. And hope they're as good as Elliot Ramos and or Casey Schmidt. It's the old Family Guy mystery box bit. Elliot Ramos is a good outfielder, but this prospect could be anything. He could even be a good outfielder. We know how badly we need one of those. That's kind of what it is here. It's got a text from Philmo. You don't think that Devers look good in anyone's lineup outside of ours? You're crazy. Don't trade Casey. I agree with you, Philmo. Don't trade Casey. That's not what I said, though. I didn't say Devers wouldn't look good. What I'm saying is I don't know how many teams are calling up or picking up their phone and saying, hey, can we take that $230 million contract off your hands? Devers look good in a lot of lineups. There's a lot of other guys out there that would look good in a lot of lineups for a lot less money. That's not to say that Devers can't be moved. This is the uphill battle that Buster's facing, though, with Devers. There is a team, and this isn't my thought. This is Ruderman put this thought in my head. That I like that Ruderman's part of the show. Ruderman really has become a big part of the show, actually. I'm very happy that he has been this year. I know it's very exciting for him, but he does think there is a team out there desperate enough to make the trade for Rafi. I'll reveal it on the other side. We'll also talk to Jeff in L.A. on the other side as well. And don't forget, 11 o'clock hour, we'll hear from Bryce Eldridge a little bit in a pre-recorded interview that I did. We also got a lineup. God, I'm teasing way too much stuff. Brought to you by Fremont Bank, here for you, here for good.
That's Alina's family group chat. It never stops. Someone's always sending a blessing.
Or starting a poll about the baby shower theme at midnight.
With Real Unlimited from Total Wireless, she's always in the loop, whether she wants to be or not. Switch to Total Wireless Total Starter Plan or higher and get a Samsung Galaxy A16 5G on us. Total Wireless, your own real unlimited. Offer ends 11/4/2026 or while supplies last. Devices, taxes, and fees may apply.
Grass-fed ribeyes.
Yes, chef.
Responsibly sourced salmon that was never frozen.
Yes, chef.
Restaurant quality steaks.
Yes, chef.
Organic chicken.
Yes, chef.
Wild-caught seafood.
Yes, chef.
At Sprouts, every cut is handpicked for flavor, freshness, and quality worthy of the chef at home. Even if your toughest critic still needs a booster seat.
More steak, please.
Yes, chef.
Sprouts Farmers Market.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-358-6868. That's 800-358-6868. Again, 800-358-6868.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-642-3615. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-642-3615 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-642-3615 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-642-3615.
This is Larry Fleck, owner of The Floor Store. Our giant summer sale is here. Now through August 3rd, get 25% off everything in the store. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, waterproof flooring, and much more. That's 25% off every product. Add 24 months interest-free financing, and you've got giant savings for your home. The Floor Store's giant summer sale. Big savings, big selection, giant opportunity. Visit floorstores.com to find the nearest of our 11 Bay Area showrooms, from Santa Rosa to San Jose. The Floor Store, your Bay Area flooring authority.
Your AC Transit fare keeps the East Bay moving, funding reliable buses, community routes, and essential transit service thousands of riders count on every day. Pay by Clipper, contactless bank card, or cash. Discounts are available for qualified riders. Visit actransit.org/fares matter.
Here's a World Soccer Championship Team Spotlight, brought to you by the first ever Infiniti QX65 and by Lowe's. Members get more at Lowe's.
Spain, world champions once again. This is a golden generation announcing itself on the sport's biggest stage. Spain's next wave has already delivered a title, and there may be more to come. World champions, Spain reigns over the globe once again.
Don't miss the 6th annual Brewgrass Festival taking place in the heart of Santa Cruz Mountains on August 1st. Enjoy live bluegrass music, sip on local craft brews, and dig into eats from your favorite food trucks. For more info and a chance to win tickets, visit 957thegame.com.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, Call 800-358-6868. That's 800-358-6868. Again, 800-358-6868.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union.
He what? He used to work here. Oh, really? Yeah, as a producer? I think so, yeah. You give him a little too much run, I think. But he what? I think you give him too much run.
Now back to the best Giants talk in the Bay. The Orange and Black Weekend Wrap on 95.7 The Game.
It is the Orange and Black Weekend Wrap. Sam Blum alongside Dan Devone. 888-957-9570 is the number to call or text. I have not given out the number at all this show. That is a faux pas on Sam. So let's be better at that, Sam. Come on. We take any and all Giants takes on this show.
What did you do last week?
What did I do last week? I did a whole lot of nothing last week, Dan. Really quick, what's the song?
It's called Rubbers. It's like that one. It's pretty big right now. If I show you the lyrics with it, you'll know.
Oh, because you said the song's everywhere right now. I'm horrible with recognizing music. So we always play this game on the Morning Roast. We used to Pandora's Box because Bonte was so bad at recognizing music. And
name that tune.
I'm not much better at it than he was.
I had this fascinating conversation with this friend of mine who's a musician. He was talking about how rock and roll is very pentatonic. I think I'm saying that word correctly.
Pentatonic,
yeah,
sure.
It's essentially the same 5 verses. They can be varied, but essentially he said, and so he used to be part of a rock band. Now he's into jazz, and he just said because it's really homogenous, that rock can be obviously different, but it's very much the same. It's in this pentatonic sort of, God, I don't have access to
a pentatonic scale is a musical scale made up of 5 notes per octave.
Yeah, and so he said that rock essentially is very pentatonic, whereas jazz, I don't know if you know anything about jazz. Jazz is amazing because you can go down these rabbit holes.
They play in Utah.
And the creativity is just like forever. No, that came from New Orleans. You do know that, right?
I know they did, but the name for some reason stuck.
Just like the Los Angeles Lakers are formerly of Minnesota.
I thought we were all the lakes in L.A. Yeah, no, I'm aware of that. That's
Did LeBron James go somewhere?
Yeah, so a couple notes here before we dive back into baseball here. I guess, that's a thing that happened yesterday. LeBron James is going to the Philadelphia 76ers. Well, how did you...
Who broke that out here in San
I got to break that, actually. That was a really fun moment for me, actually.
Take us back, Sam.
It was... It became the new biggest story that I got.
So wait, I'm curious now. How come the producer, or did the producer give it to you, or you just?
We had a show. Let me take us behind the scenes here. Things no one cares about. We had a producer meeting earlier in the week, and our boss Matt Nahigian's like, "All right, this is the plan for what we're gonna do when LeBron James makes his announcement." Sometimes when news breaks, the producer will read it off in the back, but Matt said for this one, whoever is in the A chair when it is announced, I want you to announce it so then we can post it for socials and promos and stuff like that. And
you got notified on your phone, or?
Yeah, so we had a Carter back there and Chase, one of our new producers, and Chase is like, "Oh, I'm going to wave my arms." And I'm like, "What are you doing there, Chase?" And then Carter hit breaking news, and I looked at my phone because that's what I do whenever I hear the breaking news sounder because I get all the Twitter alerts. And, "Oh, buddy," that's what I said. "Oh, buddy, we got a decision." And, it's the new biggest story I've ever broke at this station.
Can I just say real quick, Sam did a great job with that.
Thank you.
And, I told him earlier before the show started, but that is something we've been waiting on for a long time, and he handled it like a pro. He included, I told him this too, he included a lot of the LeBron verbiage, choice, decision, taking my talents to X, Y, Z. We'll show you the video at the break. It was good.
Yeah, because there's a lot of ways to butcher that.
Oh, absolutely.
You could have got self-absorbed and saying, "You won't believe this, Shasky," and just hold on to it a little bit too long.
I have a process when I read off the breaking news. I read off the full text of the tweet. Don't try and freelance or anything like that. Just read the information. That's what people want. So anyway, the biggest story I think I broke before that yesterday was I cracked the mic one time. I was like, "Guys, breaking news, this Carlos Correa presser just got canceled." I'm sure it's not a big deal, right? Well, Anyway, so
who cares?
Yeah, LeBron is going to Philly. I don't know. How did you react when you saw that?
The first thing that hit me was I don't think that they're going to win in Philly, but I could be wrong. And if they don't, he has never experienced what it is that he's about to experience in terms of the sort of the booing and the discontent that is going to be aimed at him specifically.
Exactly. Yeah. No, my first thought was like, really? That's where you're going to go? Like, I know that's your best chance to win, but like, you're ring chasing.
Well, we knew.
You try to claim yourself as the GOAT, and you're going to finish out your career as a ring chaser. LeBron's never chased rings. He's always been the guy. He builds his own teams. He doesn't go latch on to someone else. I don't know, kind of a lame way for his career to end, and because he has no connection to Philly. Like Cleveland's
he's going to live in New York.
It's so lame. Well, then again, hey, we're talking about people who commute to work from New York, so talking to you.
No, well, I don't commute because there's people in Manhattan that do this frequently that have helipads on top of their places that will literally get
you got one of those too, right?
To the airport and we'll take a helicopter to Philadelphia.
In the Devon copter.
That ain't happening, man.
Anyways, LeBron to Philly, woo, yay. I asked Tony about that yesterday before the game. I was like, hey, Tony, what was your reaction? You saw LeBron to Philly. He's like, nothing. I'm a Michael Jordan guy.
Oh, right.
With a big old smile on his face. Oh, now we're feeling more in on Tony Vitello.
For the first time this entire season, Tony Vitello has said something that I can agree with.
Anybody got anything else?
And then
What was that question? I listened to the entire presser.
Oh, it was before the game. And then the other thing that we're aware of this morning is Kyle Shanahan was apparently in a car accident back on July 14th. He suffered 3 broken ribs, a broken hand, a broken nose, 40 stitches in his face, also had a concussion. He's going to be limited at the start of training camp, though all reports indicate that he should be okay when it's all said and done. But yeah, very scary situation there with the 49ers head coach at the start of training camp there. So just a couple non-baseball things that we are aware of here on this Saturday morning. Again, it is the Orange and Black Weekend Wrap. Our focus here is Giants baseball. So let's get back into Giants baseball. Let's go to our friend Jeff in L.A. He's got some thoughts on the Giants. Jeff, how you doing this morning, man? You're on the roast.
Guys, good morning. I appreciate you taking my call. So I missed, I'm just tuning in, so I heard you talking about Casey. We start with Eldridge if you're freezing guys that you won't even consider trading. But right after Eldridge has got to come Casey. And I can't imagine why people are saying that anyone's talking about possibly trading him. I realize how much work has to be done. But in line with that, you can't do a rebuild, guys. I don't know why people keep saying, let's do a rebuild. No one's taking those 3 contracts. No one's taking Devers or Adames or Chapman unless the Giants eat most of their contracts. No one's taking them. So you can't do a rebuild. You're going to have to work off of the bad contracts that Buster put together when building this horrible roster. So that's the thing. At one point I wanted to make last night, and guys, I'm going to tell you honestly, I know I'm a bitter Giants fan right now because it's been such a horrible season, and I'm so alienated by this team right now. They come off of a road trip. They win 1 out of 6 games. Ironically, the first game they played might have been their best game that they played the entire year. They lose 5 straight games to Toronto and to Kansas City. They blow leads in every single one. They come home. They blow a 5-1 lead last night. They come back and win. And these guys run out on the field, led by Adames, who Mr. Celebration guy, who all he does seems to do is strike out and make stupid plays in the field. Or makes physical errors or mental errors, and they're celebrating like Ishikawa just hit the Grand Slam to put him in the World Series. I don't know. Maybe I'm bitter. Maybe I'm just so alienated by this team. I had to turn it off last night, and I love a celebration, and I love when my Giants win in the 9th inning or the 10th inning or whatever. But good Lord, they're ripping off shirts and the Gatorade and everything. They should be embarrassed by the way that they're playing.
I'm going to be honest, Jeff. I'm not going to tell you how to feel. I do think you've been made a little too cynical by this season. Which is fair. I don't know. How could you not be made cynical by this season? But thanks for the call there, Jeff. Tony actually talked about that with the celebration, the win afterwards. Here's what he said about that walk-off win last night.
No, it's a magical moment. I mean, if anything, it's a reward for the fans. I should be paying attention to the game. But at one point in there, it was the McRae stolen base. He ends up scoring. Susac drives him in. Just the way the crowd erupted kind of got chills. It's just good baseball. And we're capable of it. We haven't done it as well as we'd like, but you kind of paint a picture like it's the storyline is blowing a 4-run lead. But I thought it was really good baseball tonight. Even in the rough 8th inning, it was challenging hitters, and hitters got us there on a couple line drives there. Obviously, one of them being a home run, but it made for a better win, to be honest with you. More exciting, more memorable for the guys. A moment hopefully they can build confidence on, that we can come back if things don't go perfect. So we'll take it just the way it is.
So
I like the way he's indirectly patting himself on the back there.
There's a little bit of that last night. Listen, like I get,
because he substituted McCray for Cuckoo Gilbert, right?
Yeah, no, and that was a great managerial move there. And Grant McCray had a great night last night.
That throw,
he came in
that
3
throw
innings.
was amazing.
Yeah, it would remind me of the throw he had against the Dodgers last year on Ben Rortvart. Or I think that's how you said his name. Last year that throw came in like 100 off his arm. Last night he said only 94. And Grant, I'm becoming a big Grant McCray fan this year.
The location on that throw.
Oh, it's just a strike.
Yeah.
Great tag there from Casey Schmidt as well. Just very well executed. I'm becoming a big Grant McCray fan this year. Not just because in spring training we chopped it up and talked a little Canes football together. You know me, that's always going to get me on your side. But a few weeks ago after a game, we're talking with him and someone asked him about his hamate bone surgery. He's like, yeah, I got the pictures from it. I'm like, oh, I need to see that. And this guy takes out his phone and shows the picture of his opened up hand. Oh, wow. It was the gnarliest thing ever. I loved it because I'm into gross stuff like that. But it's just like, all right, dude, you're chill to talk with. You got a fun sense of humor. And you're also going out there, you're just being a good baseball player. You're making stuff happen with your legs. They had the pickoff there. He's on first base. He had the pickoff that goes over the guy's head. He's able to get into second, comes around, ends up scoring that run there. And that was a big run to get to, that 6th run, that insurance run, because when Foley gives up the home run, I believe it was that next inning there, you know, if Grant doesn't get on base, pinch run there, get around the bases and score, we're talking about another Giants loss. And so Grant McCray in 3 innings of play last night, great job there. And yeah, shout out to Tony Vitello for having the wherewithal to put him in there on that one.
Yeah, and I think collectively, Tony Vitello as well as the San Francisco Giants have realized that they've got to start creating things. And that's stealing bases. That's putting hit and runs.
Using the bench.
They've got to create. They can't just sit here, fill up the lineup card, and hope and pray, because it's just obviously gone the wrong way. I would say that despite the win last night, you still have to qualify it with, it shouldn't have been that difficult.
Well, no, I mean, listen, Logan Webb had a rough inning there that played a part
Logan
of it.
Webb was
the Jason
fine.
Foley home run.
The bullpen,
listen,
again.
You knew after his first 2 appearances, I facetiously tweeted out, well, I've seen enough. I'm going to get my hopes super high for Jason Foley now, because especially that first outing he came in, Dan, the movement on that sinker was disgusting. And this guy can throw some serious gas when he is on. But unfortunately, it's, Robbie Ray on the hill today, by the way. That was his grunt right there. He's still a reliever coming off of Tommy John. Still trying to get back into the swing of things. Like, he's not going to be a perfect reliever. And as I tweeted out last night, congratulations, Jason Foley. You're officially part of the Giants bullpen now. It's and that was unfortunate. But I'm still want to see more from Jason Foley. Listen, if this was if the exact same game plays out last night, but it's between two teams that are 15 games above 500 rather than 15 plus games below 500, does it make more sense what Tony says there, that it was just good baseball?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the records are, it was a fun game last night. It was a
well-played game.
It was a fun back and forth game. I mean, it was well played by both teams. There were moments where both teams did not play well. There are moments where both teams executed. There are moments where both teams don't execute. I'm pretty sure that's just what a baseball game is. Like, that was a fun game. And I understand Jeff in LA saying that he didn't like the celebration. Listen, they're still, at the end of the day, after all those fun and games there, they are still a robust 17 games below 500. They are 43-60 with a .417 winning percentage. They're on pace to lose 96 games or something like that. All of those words I just said are not fun words. But when you have a fun win in a bad season, you're allowed to enjoy it.
You have to.
We have to enjoy wins like that.
You lose your sanity.
You have to, I do wonder, Dan, how much of this season, the old phrase, the beatings will continue until morale improves. How much of the struggles of this season have been just when life starts dragging you down, where you're down, it gets hard to kind of get up and do the things you got to keep doing. The demoralizing effect on this season has to have translated into the box score at some point throughout the season. These guys are still human beings.
Yeah, and I think what happens, and this happens in every sport, is that after a while, and I'll use that Mariner game last Friday, the first game after the All-Star break, where you almost feel as though after all of these losses, that losing begins to creep in and you expect to lose. I know we hear that, but it's almost palpable, and it almost becomes an entity where you could feel, even in that game where Logan Webb was cruising in the first game after the All-Star break, in the back of your head, you're just saying, God, this is just sort of a narrow lead. And sure enough, as soon as that thing was tied and you could see that the momentum had shifted, there was a sense of like, you're going to lose this game. And you can almost read the body language. And I think that infiltrates after a while, that you expect to lose.
Yes.
And it becomes something that sort of overtakes the clubhouse, and it becomes carcinogenic, if you will. It becomes something that you have to sort of like, I don't know, get an exorcist and sort of eradicate it. But so when you have wins like this, which are few and far between, you got to live in the moment. Getting back to Jeff in Los Angeles, that's what that's all about. Yeah. It's almost therapy to a certain degree.
And listen, the fans who are, of the mind of Jeff, like, and listen, how could you not be made cynical by this season? Think of the expectations we had at the beginning of the year, where we thought, on paper, this is a good-looking team on paper. The roster, the talent of roster, the talent that this roster has is good, but it hasn't performed to the expectations that was expected. That's deflating. That's going to make you a cynical fan, especially when it's, coming off the run of the last 7, 8, 9, 10 years of just blah baseball. So I understand if you're feeling cynical. I understand if you're frustrated. I understand if the wins don't do anything for you. That's just kind of how this season has been. I have no problem, though, with these guys enjoying wins like that because, again, it's just we've had so few. I think that was our third walk-off win of the year. Jesus Rodriguez, Bryce's grand slam, and then that. Like, this team had like 9 or 10 walk-offs last year. Like, you just don't get many opportunities to celebrate this year. Take those opportunities when we can. You are allowed to enjoy things in a lost year.
And I think because of what it is that you just said is one of the reasons why Tony Vitello has just got to go. And I know that you support him a lot more than I do. And here's why. Is that, we understand that he inherited a really bad situation, right? It's the roster, it's the bullpen. That's not on him. But what's the old phrase? You can't fire everybody, right? Like, you can't. They're going to try and trade everybody, but you can't fire the entire team. Here's the thing, Sam. You cannot come back next year if you indeed have to hang on to Chapman and Devers and Adames, which is going to be, as we all just laid out, really difficult to move him. If you come back with that same trio, and if you come back with the exact same team and Tony Vitello, well, then that's on you, Buster Posey, because you can't get rid of everybody, but you do have to move. And sometimes it's more just symbolic, just so that you can change the energy. Look at the Boston Red Sox. Here comes Tracy. Alex Cora has been a good manager, but they had to do something. And the same thing with the Philadelphia Phillies. They got off to that terrible start with Rob Thompson, and Don Mattingly now suddenly is your manager, and they've turned things. They pivoted on the at that very moment. And it's not an indictment on Cora necessarily that he's a bad manager or doesn't know baseball. And the same thing with Thompson. It's just sometimes you just need that breath of fresh air. And in the case of San Francisco Giants, it's not only a breath of fresh air, but it's also a guy that is very, very unproven. And I brought this up on numerous occasions that I need to see more in terms of why it is that I need to retain you on what has been such a woeful season. And again, when I can't move everybody, I got to move somebody. And unfortunately, you're going to be the fall guy.
See, I would kind of push back on that. I would go in the opposite way. And that last night, kind of one of those reasons why, reminds you why I think you can bring Tony back. Because again, in a season where everything's just gone so off the rails, everything is so miserable, you look to your leadership to set a tone. And I know these losses have absolutely been wearing on Tony Vitello. Dave Fleming has said enough. I mean, how could they not? He's a competitive guy. He's a fiery guy. He likes to win. He is at himself most when he is winning. But like, when I see him, this guy's got a smile on his face all the time. Like, he never, like, he's, and even after a loss, he's defeated, but he doesn't look broken about it. Maybe internally he is. I'm not saying he doesn't care, but like, I know he cares a lot, but he puts on a strong face. And I feel like in times when things are down like this, you need your leader to put on a strong face and keep moving things forward. That's how you keep your clubhouse from truly spiraling into the darkness. Like when we had Jim Bowden on, he talked about, we asked him about when it's time to move off of a manager. And he's like, when the clubhouse just gets so untenable that like you need to shake things up somehow, that's when you do it. I don't think this Giants clubhouse has reached that point yet. At least from what I've seen. Maybe there's things I'm missing and I'm wrong here, but from what I've seen, I haven't seen that. He's still kept, I think, morale as high as you can keep it on this team. And I think that's absolutely a feather in Tony's cap to be able to do that. Now, that's not going to impress Giants fans maybe on the grander scale of things, and I understand that. But in a lost year like this, a lot of managers would struggle in a lost year like this. I think Tony's done as well as can be expected. You contrast this to last year with Bob Melvin when things started going off the rails. You walk in that clubhouse and it's just flatlined everywhere. That team was just so stale last year where you had to make a change. I don't see the staleness with this team this year.
That team was 500 last year.
Okay, but it was still this is something we were kind of talking about at the break. Boy, wouldn't 500 be good? 500's not good enough. Just because they were however under Bob Melvin, just because they are however under Farhan Zaidi, that wasn't good enough. I'm not saying that this is good enough, but just because it was one way in the past, I don't think has any bearing on where things are at right now. You needed a change last year. I don't think things have spiraled so south behind the scenes this year. It's not perfect behind the scenes, don't get me wrong, but things have not spiraled so south to the point that I'm pointing at Tony and be like, you've completely botched this whole thing. I don't think that's the case.
No, he hasn't lost the team and he hasn't lost the clubhouse, but there's got to be more feathers in the cap than that in order for me to bring him back. And I think, again, if I can't move, you can't bring this back next year.
No, it's going to be different in some regard, but I don't think Tony is going to be the difference. You're going to have a slightly different roster.
You can justify bringing him back after what it is that we just saw this past year. Something is wrong. Something is clearly wrong. And again, I use the Red Sox and the Phillies as examples. Tony's a great, by all indications, he's a good guy and he's a good manager, but he's unproven at this level and it hasn't worked. And again, you can't trade everybody. So what do we need to do in order to clean this up and sort of start again?
But I think you also
and rechannel some energy back into this team.
Well, see, I do think you still got good energy in this team. Yeah, you do need to channel in more, but at the same time, there had to be an expectation that things would play out like this. I'm not saying this bad. I think things have gone far worse than we expected, and the growing pains have lasted longer, I think, than we expected to. But you had to know this was going to happen. What Buster's trying to do, bring in Tony, and he's trying to start something from the ground up and keep things going. Granted, that's tough when you got the big three contracts on this team. And I think what this team looks like after the deadline is going to play a big role into what this coaching staff looks like going into next year as well. We'll cross that bridge, when we get to it. But I think at some point you got to pick a direction, go in it. And I think Buster had to have known going into this there's going to be a lot of risk here. It was going to be rough at times. You got to show them that, hey, you know what? We were aware of this risk. We're going to suck it up and fight through it. We're going to try and improve from it. And maybe it just gets to the point where you look at this season, it's like, you know what? A lot of mistakes were made this year. But, and I made this quote the other day. I'm going to make it here. I hope you're a Star Wars guy, Dan. As Yoda said in episode 8, the greatest teacher, failure is. Been a lot of that this year. If the Giants can truly believe that they can learn from all the mess that has happened this year and build back better going into next year, that's the path you're trying to target right now. That's what you're trying to have happen going into next season. If you're making the case that Tony does come back next year, you know what? I'm willing to go down that path. I'm going to duck out of the way from those people throwing stuff at me, but I'm willing to go down that path there. So let's keep this conversation going on the other side. I got a bunch of teases that I need to pay off, so we'll try and get to that.
Just give some more.
Oh, yeah, it's on the other side. Yeah, the crazy thing that happened last night. Hey, I did tease Bryce Eldridge in the 11 o'clock hour. I'm going to play that at 11:30-ish.
Now, why do I know that tease?
That one's because I did the work. I'm going to actually put through it. So, hey, just so you know, baseball coverage on 95.7 The Game is presented by Xfinity. Score the most reliable Wi-Fi. One price, 5 years guaranteed. Xfinity, imagine that. More Giants talk coming up next. Brought to you by Fremont Bank. Here for good.
So, how's your research going?
Surprising. After I figured out the top-rated TVs in our price range, I went shopping for deals.
And who's the best?
It wasn't the internet, and it wasn't the warehouse club.
But?
It was video only. They had better deals on the Samsung, LG, and the Sony TVs that got the highest scores.
Better than online and at the club?
I know. Video only beat them all. And now we can afford an even better model for the same price. My research really paid off.
If we buy it video only.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'll be sorry.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In Mountain View, San Mateo, Union City, Dublin, and San Rafael. Video Only.
When you own your own business, you own every decision.
Catch the red eye or take the 6 a.m.
Make a new hire or promote internally.
Celebrate a win with the toast at the gate or unwind at the lounge. Big props to this team.
Some decisions are a win-win, like earning 8 times points on Chase Travel. Chase Sapphire Reserve for Business, the business card that gives back all you put in. Visit chase.com/reserve business to learn more. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member of FDIC, subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Hey, it's Willard. Embrace the haze with Hazy Little Thing from Sierra Nevada. If you've ever stayed for the 9th inning comeback, know how to time the beer run to still make it back for the stretch. If you're up for whatever the game brings, then embrace the haze with Hazy Little Thing. Hazy, citrusy, smooth. Brewed with the purest ingredients for finest quality. There's a reason it's America's best-selling Hazy IPA. Embrace the haze with Sierra Nevada Hazy Little Thing. Enjoy responsibly.
That's Elena's family group chat. It never stops. Someone's always sending a blessing
or starting a poll about the baby shower theme at midnight.
With Real Unlimited from Total Wireless, she's always in the loop, whether she wants to be or not. Switch to Total Wireless Total Starter Plan or higher and get a Samsung Galaxy A16 5G on us. Total Wireless, your own Real Unlimited. Offer ends 11/4/2026 or while supplies last. Devices, taxes, and fees may apply.
FlexCar, we know radio ads are annoying, but not as annoying as car salesmen.
Sign here, please.
Never talk to one again with FlexCar, the first and only month-to-month car lease.
No! Submit to my extortion machine.
Insurance and maintenance included. Switch cars anytime.
Switching Bronco to Camry to tell you ride willy-nilly? Oh, no.
Oh, yes. FlexCar. You drive everything.
$1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Hi, I'm David.
I'm Chris.
And I'm John. We are the three brothers who own Jack's Restaurant and Bar.
And we are here to...
Not again. That's my
That was my line.
Hey, stop it.
Mom? What are you doing here?
Have you heard your commercials? They're terrible.
That's not our fault. You taught us how to cook delicious food.
Using only the freshest ingredients.
And to treat all our guests like family visiting our home. But you didn't teach us how to write catchy radio spots.
They remember that and get back to work.
Yes, Mom. Jack's, serving delicious breakfast, lunch, dinner, and drinks the way our mom taught us.
ilovejacks.com.
Oh, hey, Sarah. Did you hear my daughter Katie got Camper of the Week?
That's a big deal. We got a big deal too, right, Mom?
Honey, shh.
What's that?
Okay, that Hyundai Santa Fe, I only paid.
Nice.
Deal's so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days, or 1.9% APR for 72 months on the Hyundai Tucson, Santa Fe, or Santa Fe Hybrid during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Hurry, offer ends August 3rd. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The San Francisco Marathon is right around the corner, Sunday, July 26th.
Catch 95.7 The Game near the Chase Center Hydration Station as we're out there proudly supporting the runners. Get all the marathon details at 957thegame.com.
Now back to the best Giants talk in the Bay. The Orange and Black Weekend Wrap on 95.7 The Game.
We are back on the Orange and Black Weekend Wrap. Sam Loman alongside Dan Devone here. What song is this, Risotto? He said it was for Jeff.
This is for Jeff. This is the celebration music after every win at Oracle Park.
Oh, I am Giant. Well, there you go. Yeah, I see. I'm horrible at recognizing music. Halfway through.
What do you mean it's for
Jeff in L.A.?
Oh.
The guy who wasn't unhappy. Listen, I'm not trying to rag on Jeff, but you're allowed to be unhappy. Thank you, Howard.
Gotta do a Snoopy dance every now and then, Jeff. Otherwise, what's the point?
You're allowed to enjoy things, and in a season like this, you gotta enjoy the little things. And we gotta Dan, how many shows have we done after a loss this year? I mean, the Giants have been so good at losing Friday night games.
So true.
It's just, I like talking about wins, yes, losing is good for ratings because everyone likes to call in and bitch and moan and talk about a bad team, but I like winning. Call me crazy. I like it when my teams win. So.
It changes you've been in the clubhouse. When you lose as opposed to a win, and the complexion in that clubhouse is entirely different. And so they know that. Winning is what it's all about.
I hate walking into a quiet clubhouse. I hate walking in and I got to listen to Logan whisper about why things went so bad. I got to walk in there and Casey's got to talk about how, his home run wasn't enough, or Chapman's talk about how we just got to figure out ways to play better baseball. I hate walking into those kind of clubhouses. I like walking into the clubhouse. We walk in, Whitney Houston's blaring on the speaker in there. Everyone's got smiles. I've seen a bunch of relievers playing card games with each other, having a good time.
What's the Whitney Houston song?
I want to dance with somebody.
Oh,
I want to feel the heat with somebody.
That's funny. The Knicks were all about Michael Jackson this year. Anytime you walk in their locker room,
so I'm curious who puts Whitney Houston on. Because in the past, when Brandon Crawford had the music, you'd walk in and the song "Bounce It" was always playing. I'm not going to go into further details there because it's not a radio appropriate song. Just Google it. Anyway, it is the Orange and Black Weekend Wrap. Sam Loman alongside Dan Devone. I want to play some sound from Dave Fleming in just a moment. A couple of non-baseball nuggets, though, that I just want to throw out there. Number one, I don't know if you heard, Dan, but LeBron James going to the Philadelphia 76ers.
I did hear.
Yeah, anyway. And also...
somebody had breaking news at 95.7 The Game.
Also going on this morning is we got news this morning from ESPN that Kyle Shanahan was involved in a car accident a few days ago. Apparently, 3 broken ribs, a broken hand, a broken nose, concussion, 40 stitches. And with training camp opening tomorrow, Chris Forrester will be handling the head coaching duties, so to speak, until Shanahan is fully recovered there. The good news is a full recovery, I believe, is expected from Shanahan. Still a very scary situation there, and thank goodness he's alive, because the car accident I'm reading about in the ESPN story, Nick Wagner has all the information on that, so go on to ESPN and check that out once this show's over and
go read
about it.
Exactly? Do you know?
Apparently he's near his house. I don't know where Kyle Shanahan lives, but I guess
he's a San Diego guy in the offseason.
I think the responding officer they talked to
Northern California,
Palo Alto.
Okay.
So yeah, according to Palo Alto Lieutenant Nicholas Martinez, said there was no drugs or alcohol involved. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just he's recovering at home, believed to be healing well. Scary situation there for Kyle. But the good news is, through it's all said and done, he might have an extra scar or two, but it sounds like he's going to be okay there. So get well soon, coach, because we're going to need you out there soon. So yeah, LeBron's a Sixer. Kyle Shanahan got in a car accident. Those are the non-baseball things that are happening this weekend. Let's get into some baseball stuff now. Dave Fleming joined the Morning Roast earlier this week, and we asked him about the trade deadline and what things are going to need to be happening there. And, here's what he said the focus of this deadline should be.
The focus should be get as many talented players into the organization as possible who can help the big league club. That is the focus. The hardest part about the trade deadline is this. The trade deadline's pretty easy when you're talking about the guys who are going to be free agents, because the Giants are not going to the playoffs. And so you can pretty easily decide to trade the players who aren't signed for next year, because those players are only helping you this year. And if you're not going to the playoffs and you think you can get a good return for those free agents, that's an easy decision. And that doesn't mean you automatically make a deal. You don't make a bad deal. You hold the line and you're willing to say no as a negotiating stance. You're willing to say, yeah, we'll keep this guy. We like this guy. That's part of the leverage of the week.
Well, I'm kind of curious here, Dan, if anyone else wants to answer this, 888-957-9570. If this deadline can only go one of two ways. Way number one is you trade your impending free agents, Robbie Ray and Luis Arias. Maybe you trade a bullpen piece.
Oh, those guys are...
Oh, no, you'd be surprised how... Do you remember Trevor Rosenthal getting traded by the Giants last year? Yeah, Trevor Rosenthal never threw a pitch for anybody last year. Relievers can get traded for anything. Everyone always needs bullpen help. And maybe Ramos gets thrown in there too. And you trade these guys away and you only get prospects back, but the big three are still there. That's option number one. Option number two is you move off your big three. Maybe you got to package, them with Arias and Robbie Ray or Elliot Ramos that way. You get off those contracts, but you don't really get any prospects in return, but you still have that, salary roster flexibility back that you gain by offloading those big three contracts. Which option would you rather take? The option where you get prospects back, but you're still stuck with the big three, or the option where you move off of the big three, but maybe you don't get the prospect haul back that you're hoping for?
It is number two. Give me curtain number two without hesitation.
Yeah.
That's really the 800-pound gorilla in the room going forward for this team.
And number two. I think that's probably the path I would take too. I want to load up on prospects because I do think you have a great opportunity in this deadline to load up on prospects. Like a guy like Robbie Ray should fetch a pretty good return. I mean, they traded Tyler Rogers and Camilo Doval and Mike Yastrzemski away last year. And all three of those guys brought back players that you're kind of interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's Drew Gilbert and Blade Tidwell, whether it was Jose Buto, whether it was Jesus Rodriguez, whether it's Parks Harbor. There were names that they brought back for second-tier guys, essentially. Maybe Tyler Rogers not as much, but I feel like you can get a good return for Robbie Ray. I feel like you can get a solid return for Luis Arias. Those returns aren't going to mean a whole lot, though, if you have nowhere to put them, because you got big three contracts in the way. Unless, of course, you're getting pitching prospects, which that's a different conversation.
Yeah, and I think that their minor leagues and the players coming up in a much better situation they are right now than they were, say, a year ago or 2 years ago. And so I think the thing that is keeping this team from going forward, because I really don't think, Sam, they're that far away. They're not. And that's the one thing about baseball. See the Chicago White Sox, who lost 102 games last year, now leading the division.
121 the year before, yeah.
See the Atlanta Braves, who were a double-digit sub-500 team a year ago, that are not only leading, but running away from with their respective division.
I would even say the Braves, if you're looking for a reason to be optimistic that things can turn around next year, the Braves are the team that you look at, because they got off to a 0-7 start last year, and it just
similar roster.
It scuttled their whole year, and they brought back much of the same team.
Yeah. Except for Hassan Kim, maybe?
Yeah, there's a change here or there. That's the team you're looking at. Well, if the Braves can do it, maybe the Giants can too.
Well, this gets back to what it is that sometimes, if something's off, what is it? Because you do have to change something. And that's why, I pointed Tony Vitello, because it's not, whatever it is, you're not, if you were to tell me that essentially this same team is in the postseason last year, I wouldn't be blown away.
Meaning next year?
Meaning next year.
Yeah.
What did I say? Yeah.
He said last year. Yeah.
Next year, that this is a team that's going to be in the postseason. I think this Giant team is a player or two and just an attitude away from being actually a good team. I mean, again, when you think about a Giants team that's hovering around 20 games under 500, 17, 16 games under 500, that is so underwhelming, you would think that, oh my God, everything has gone wrong with the big three. Clearly they have. And you would think that, man, there is absolutely no future with this team. What is it that we do? But what's weird about this particular team is that actually through all of this, throughout of this dark cloud, there has been these rays of sunshine. and that is Jung-Hoo Lee's had that breakout season to become the sort of player that everybody envisioned when they signed him 2 years ago. Casey Schmidt's had this remarkable season and come out of nowhere. And Bryce Eldridge has, believe it or not, I think, exceeded expectations and has been
very much so.
Bryce Eldridge. So you actually have these foundational pieces in what has been just such a dark and dismal season. So within that, how do we fix this going forward? So then how do we get to the postseason? Well, you got to do what it is that you just mentioned in terms of my second option. I think that you have to move because what's inhibiting the growth of Casey Schmidt, and the only thing that can deter what is the future is the guys that are in front of Casey Schmidt, and namely in front of one Bryce Eldridge, who happens to be Devers and, of course, Chapman, respectively.
Yeah. The other side of that, though, Dan, is that the thing about the big three is they're not pitchers. Why do I bring up pitchers? Because this team needs pitchers badly. Trevor McDonald's got a sprained UCL. He's getting a second opinion for it. Tony Vitello said yesterday, before the game, that he's going to be missing a chunk of time. Now, Trevor McDonald, he's not an end-all, be-all pitcher. I think he's an okay pitcher. He's got 2 pitches, needs to work on a third. But there's things to like with McDonald, but I still think he's a back end of the rotation starter. But why this matters, though, is they are hurting for arms. Carson Whisenhunt, by the way, is at the ballpark today, so I think that's the move that's going to be made. McDonald, IL, Whisenhunt
He's going to
into
get
rotation.
stuck this weekend, right?
Probably not because Trevor started on today's Saturday. Started on Wednesday, I believe, was his last start. I don't know, all these days blend together when you don't get sleep like I do. My point is, though, they need pitching. And if you move Arias and Robbie Ray and get starting pitching back in return, then, I mean, that's not going to impact your infield at all. You need starting pitching, Dan. And when you say this team, I don't know if this team's a year or two away. They're not going to get any closer unless they get pitching. If they could get more starting pitching to bolster up this rotation, to bolster up this bullpen, even if the big three are still here, you could still have a better team. The problem with the big three is going to come in a couple years because they're still technically in their prime years. You know, Willie Adames is 30 years old. Rafi Devers is 29. Matt Chapman's 33. That's the scarier one of those three there. But if you move Arias, which would suck, you put Casey at second, you still got a pretty good infield there. And if you got better pitching on top of that, that's a pathway to having a good team come back next year. By the way, I mentioned the Braves. This is a fact here that's going to hurt my case. Did the Braves bring back the same team this year? There was one change they made. It was that manager. So, but again, I don't think that's going to be the case here with the Giants and Tony Vitello. And I know a lot of people don't like that, but that's just the feeling I have with things right now. And I want to see if I want to try and make this work with Tony. I really do.
You just like the guy got to you is what happened.
I believe he knows ball. And I think that when he has a roster that he can work with, and that's on him and Buster to make that happen, I think we'll see these guys cook together. They still have to execute. And I could be wrong, and that'll suck, and I'm going to be sad, but such is life. 888-957-9570. What is a deadline priority? Do you want prospects, or do you want to just clear the books and get rid of your bad contracts? If you had to pick between the two, which would you rather have? Michael in Napa, let's get you in here. How you doing today, Michael? You are on the Wrap.
Good. How are you guys doing today?
Doing pretty good, man. I hear it's really nice up in Napa today.
It's beautiful today. Blue skies, 72. Hanging out with my dog, listening to you guys talk about the Giants.
How's your dog feel about the Giants?
The Giants. He's cool if they're winning or losing.
There you go. What kind of dog?
He's a blue heeler.
Oh, I love. How old?
His name's Crash.
How old?
He'll be 2 next month.
Oh, that's so much energy. My mom has a healer too, and he's the greatest dog.
Yeah, he's super cool dog. Super cool dog. Yeah, so the vibes are good, and that guy that was calling about them celebrating last night and how it rubbed him the wrong way, that's the worst kind of fan right there that I could think of. And all these people that want Vitello gone and Posey gone, I feel like they're reactionary and compulsive, and they make a lot of bad decisions in their life. You know, because you can go from zero to hero real quick. I agree with exactly what you're saying. Everybody's complaining about the big three. The big three is not the problem. The pitching is the problem. You get a little bullpen help, another starter, they're in contention easy.
There you go. Thanks for that call there, Michael. And I said this to Shasky the other day. Like, these things can turn around fast, Dan. Sometimes they don't, but sometimes they can. Like, in June of 2008, that was a season that was going nowhere. You still had Tim Lincecum. You still had Matt Cain. You did have Brian Wilson. So you had guys you could enjoy on that team, but it didn't feel like the team was going anywhere. If I were to tell you in June of 2008 that 2.5 years later, that team would be marching down Market Street with the World Series trophy, you would have thought I was crazy. You know what changed in 2008, Dan? This portly little catcher third baseman showed up. His name was Pablo Sandoval. He showed up in August, and it changed the entire season. The Giants looked really good those last 2 months. Everyone was feeling good about this team going into 2009.
You just made the season!
The arrival of one Pablo Sandoval changed everything. I don't know if that change everything prospect is in the Giants system right now.
Tugboat.
It could be Tugboat Wilkinson. I think you're going to see him very, very soon. By the way,
this year?
I think he's 2-3 with
AA?
Yeah, he's in AAA right now, actually. Oh. Where is I wrote it down how he's doing. Let me talk a little bit. He is a little chunky, but hey, he's born on my birthday, so it's all good. He's 1-2 with a 4.03 ERA and 6 starts in Sacramento, 22 innings pitched. Hitters are hitting 171 against him, though, down in AAA. So Tugboat is tugging along down there. I think we'll see him at some point this year. Maybe he helps turn this rotation around. Maybe Robbie Ray gets traded to insert team here, and they get back a top-tier pitching prospect who is inserted into the rotation right away, and that bolsters things. And now suddenly you have a stronger rotation.
Wait, somebody's going to trade for Logan Webb and then give up one of their top pitchers?
No, Robbie Ray.
Oh, Robbie Ray.
Yeah. Or maybe it's a little...
Did you say Ray? You said,
Did I say Ray?
I thought you said
well,
Ray.
it's Robbie Ray in this. Let me clarify then. It's Robbie Ray. Or maybe it's Luis Arias. You trade Arias. He brings back...
I don't think anybody's going to trade for Robbie Ray, then give up a top shelf starter.
You never know.
Make a lot of sense.
Again,
right?
Robbie is a lefty starter who can give you 6 innings of plus pitching. Those are guys who come in very handy in the postseason, especially when you got teams like the Dodgers who sometimes struggle against lefties. You don't think a team like the Braves could find some use for a guy like a Robbie Ray, a team like the Phillies that needs some extra left-handed pitching behind Chris Sanchez?
Chris Sale back, or they're not going to give you...
No, they're not giving you Chris Sale, but they're going to give you one of their better pitching prospects, though.
Oh, you mean prospects? I thought you were talking about...
Oh, no. You're not going to...
An established starter.
Oh, no. You're not getting that. No, you're getting a pitching prospect back.
Yeah, fair enough. So could you see the Giants trading either a Rise and or Ray to the Dodgers? I don't.
No, I don't think they're... The Dodgers, Diamondbacks, you're not doing an in-division trade. Honestly, the only in-division NL West trade that I can remember the Giants making with anybody was Charlie Culberson for Marco Scutaro back in 2012. I don't know, Risotto, if there's any others that pop off the top of your head, but that's the only one if Buster wants to get fired, sure, send Robbie Ray to the Dodgers. Because that would be can you imagine that universe, Robbie Ray getting the last out for the three-peat?
I hear the Dodgers have been knocking on the door because they could use a second
they could bang away on the door all they want, and I'll tell them to blah, get out of here. Yeah. Where's that from? Is that one of my noises?
No, it's actually last week Dan Dibley did some series of dry heaves. Yep.
Thanks. Yeah. So, anyway, yeah, you never know what you can find out there if you make these deals. So that's what makes me want to lean more into the prospect aspect of it. That said, I would like to see one of these big three moved. Yeah. I do. I don't know which one. Again, Dan, it changes every day for me.
It's going to be really disheartening. Maybe not as bad as the Warriors left holding the bag after LeBron James decides to take his talents to Philadelphia. But it's going to be really deflating if after the break, for me at least, and I'm sure there's a huge contingent that you still have Devers at first and Chapman and Adames on this.
It's very likely because, again, contracts like that rarely get moved.
I get it
in season.
But I think if there's a will, there's a way.
Let's go to our guy Richie in Queens. He's got a hot rumor for us. Richie, how you doing, man? How's Betty doing today?
Hey, all right, we're doing good. All right, guys. Sam, Dave. Hey, Sam, we spoke during the week
Dave,
about
what the hell's Dave?
About Tony. How he didn't answer. How we didn't answer the call about that argument. The thing that I didn't bring up is that I'm amazed. I know because he came from college. And he was told, you can't treat the players, the pros, like you do in college. Because he supposedly was tough as far as fundamentals and stuff like that. But you would just think that every once in a while, unless he's told by Posey and management, you got to be the way we want you to be, you would just think that, he would just fall back on his upbringing as far as being, into fundamentals and maybe get on these guys a little bit more. So, that's something that's a little worrisome. Hey, a couple of things. The thing with Kent, kudos to him. He deserved it. The Devins deal that I brought up, it's a big talk that he might be going to New York. They're really pushing to get him. I don't know if they're going to do that with his contract. But, Dan, I got to disagree with you. We are far away from being really viable, guys. I mean, think if Ray goes, we have no length with our starters. Webb has just been our stud, but he's given up big leads. Our bullpen's in shambles. If you lose Arise and maybe give up Chapman at this point, could Chapman possibly go? Outfield, Reed is doing well, but no power. Eldridge, I believe he'll be good, but we are so far away from being viable. I think I don't know what they're going to get back, and again, that's a crapshoot. Do we get good players for what we have? I don't know. I don't really have a good feeling that we are going to come out, no matter what we do, and be a solid team for next year. I think it's up in the air.
So, but Rich, I hear you're coming out here, but let's also see what this team looks like after the trade deadline. Like, we don't know what kind of haul they're going to bring in. It's very possible Buster moves one of those big three. It's very possible that one of these, impending free agents they trade away does net them a prospect that does move things forward a little bit. And that's kind of what I was saying. It's like, you just don't know. Granted, yes, they can go in the other direction. Maybe they are very far away. But I do think this team is in a situation where, with a couple of good moves, they can advance their timeline, I think, a lot faster than I think a lot of fans right now are thinking.
Yeah, I agree to that point. But, guys, when you look at our team, you could say, our pitching is solid, our starters. Can't say that. Really can't. Roop is still up in the air. Ray's good, but he's a bullpen killer. He gives you 5 innings. Webb has not been what he was for the last couple of years. Okay, so McDonald, okay, is it Wizenhunt? Then you look at our bullpen. Well, we got a bullpen. We are timely hitting. Our errors, our defense. Everything is a negative on this team. So to say that all of a sudden we're going to fix all those aspects, I don't see it. I really don't. And I know things turn around. You look at Miami's there. You look at Pittsburgh. I can't believe that we're not in the mix for that. So I don't want to speak a negative Nelly here, guys, but there's too many things from A to Z that have to be fixed. And if we get people back, let's hope. Let's hope.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Hey, Richie, I have a question. How come when you meet someone on the West Coast, their name's Rich or Richard or even Dick, I guess, but every time on the East Coast, it's always, Richie. There's no Richies out here on the West Coast. Why is that?
You got Richie.
That's the Brooklyn Queens thing, guys. Exactly. It's a different terminology. It's a different outlook. It's a different ethnic background. Richie is like, hey, Richie, versus in California, it's, hey, Richard, how are you? I understand. That's the way things are, guys.
Who's got the best pie out in Brooklyn or Queens?
Oh, wow, you're going to get Richie in trouble.
The best pie?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. There's a cheesecake, Junior's cheesecake.
No, I'm talking about pizza.
Oh, pizza? Rizzo, there's a Rizzo pizza that's a square pie that I was one of the first customers back in '59, and they're celebrating their 60th anniversary soon. Actually, 70. That's great, but Angelo's Pizza, obviously, there's so many different places that you can really. And I'm in PA now, so I get some decent pizza, but you always go back to your roots. And so those places really are on top of the list. And Rizzo's Pizzas in Queen. I'll give them a shout.
All right, Richie. I just like saying Richie.
There you go, Richie and Queens. Thanks for jumping in here, Richie. Let's keep things going here. Let's go to Hank.
Square pie, by the way, is called a grandma's
square pie. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Let's go to our friend Hank in the East Bay. Hank, how you doing? You're on the wrap.
Hey, I'm doing good. Like all fans, it's the end of the world. We lose, and then we celebrate on the field. We win.
Yeah.
Great. First of all, I think Bob Brenly was right. We kind of got to tone it down, tighten it up. I'm happy too, but I'm a fan. I'm not a professional baseball player, so. But that doesn't really matter. The thing I see is that if we're gonna identify if we're going in the right direction, we have to identify the strategy we're using. And I think the strategy that we're using, from my perception, is that we're not going to be able to sign free agent hitters because history's proven that. We got Barry Bonds and Aubrey Huff. That's about it. So I think that we're doing pretty good getting, Schmitty, Ramos, Arias, Eldridge. I think we're on the right track. I want to know what you guys think. What do you think about holding on to our key offensive contributors, and then we could add on pitching and maybe some defense down the line? Because as we know, that's what we could add. We can't add sluggers.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that's a viable strategy?
I think that's a really good strategy, Hank. I think thank you for the call here up against it. I think that's absolutely the strategy that the Giants will try and employ there. So we'll keep this thing going on the other side. Who should the Giants trade? Who's going to be around for this next window of contention? Plus some stuff Larry Bear said, plus a potential Steven Ruderman appearance at some point down the line as well. And Bryce Eldridge. God, we got a lot to get to in the last hour. Oh, boy. How am I going to pull it off? God, why people listen to my teases? Brought to you by Fremont Bank, here for you, here for good.
Sam, Dave.
So what are you reading?
I'm checking out the ratings on the new TVs, and it looks like Samsung, LG, and Sony got the best scores.
Just like last year. What about those new high dynamic range TVs?
They got the highest scores of all, but their prices are really high.
Did you check online?
Yeah, their prices were about the same.
Well, there's one place where we can get a hot deal on those top-rated models.
Where?
At Video Only. Check out the ratings on TV stores.
I see. Video Only scored better than the others.
So, if you want the best deal on the best TVs,
then we should take our TV ratings and head over to top-rated Video Only.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In Mountain View, San Mateo, Union City, Dublin, and San Rafael. Video Only.
Jane is a small business owner.
That's right.
And tell them what that's like, Jane.
Yeah, well, it's like a roller coaster with a lot of ups and downs, and some days things can feel like they're flying off the rails.
Yep, it's a lot. But the Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business can help you manage it all. With the largest, fastest fiber-powered network designed for 100% reliability with business internet and wireless connect. Plus gig speeds with security and equipment included. All with a 5-year price lock.
Nice. So everything stays on track.
Exactly. The Total Solutions Advantage. Get started for just $60 a month for 12 months when you add Wireless Connect to a qualifying internet package. No one does business like Comcast Business.
Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. New customers only. 1-year agreement, paperless billing, and automatic payments with bank account required. $60 offer requires 300 meg internet, security edge, and additional qualifying service. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
Looking for something fun and free to do midweek? Come explore Welcome In Wednesdays at History Park. Brought to you by History San Jose. Every Wednesday through August, step inside one of our historic buildings, shop unique local finds at the gift shop, and enjoy the charm of this beautiful open-air museum and park. All for free. Take a walk through time at Welcome In Wednesdays, only at History Park, located in Kelly Park at 1650 Center Road. Visit historysanjose.org for details. That's historysanjose.org.
Grass-fed ribeyes.
Yes, chef.
Responsibly sourced salmon that was never frozen.
Yes, chef.
Restaurant quality steaks.
Yes, chef.
Organic chicken.
Yes, chef.
Wild-caught seafood.
Yes, chef.
At Sprouts, every cut is handpicked for flavor, freshness, and quality worthy of the chef at home. Even if your toughest critic still needs a booster seat.
More steak, please.
Yes, chef.
Sprouts Farmers Market.
This is Larry Fleck, owner of The Floor Store. Our giant summer sale is here. Now through August 3rd, get 25% off everything in the store. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, waterproof flooring, and much more. That's 25% off every product. Add 24 months interest-free financing, and you've got giant savings for your home. The Floor Store's giant summer sale. Big savings, big selection, giant opportunity. Visit floorstores.com to find the nearest of our 11 Bay Area showrooms, from Santa Rosa to San Jose. The Floor Store, your Bay Area flooring authority.
Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job, I think I want to buy a drum kit.
Okay, Rockstar. Let's look at your account.
When kids start making money, Chase has easy-to-use tools and expert bankers to help them learn how to manage it.
And next month, I'll buy the bass drum and the cymbals. Oh, and maybe some noise-canceling headphones for you.
Aw, you've thought of everything.
Help kids save, budget, and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Helping your inner circle prepare for emergencies can start in many ways. Put together an emergency kit with Wipol. Create a family communication plan with your tita. Remind Bai to keep a backup battery charged. It all starts with a simple step, telling those you care about to be ready for the worst. So start a conversation and plan for emergencies together. Get more tips at ready.gov/start. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Don't miss the 6th annual Brewgrass Festival taking place in the heart of Santa Cruz Mountains on August 1st. Enjoy live bluegrass music, sip on local craft brews, and dig into eats from your favorite food trucks. For more info and a chance to win tickets, visit 957thegame.com.
New Game Plus with Oxy makes your laundry smell incredible and fights stubborn smells, like the ones your dog Biscuit brought into your freshly made bed last night. But you washed that all away with Game, and now you're drifting asleep to the scent and sound of waves. Ah, no, that's the dog licking your ear.
Biscuit.
It just might be our greatest scent ever, now with odor-fighting power. New Game Plus with Oxy.
Sniff the difference. Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a social media manager.
Did you just post our Q4 earnings to your personal social media?
Oh yeah, used the trending audio and everything.
That's confidential financial data.
Relax. It only went a little viral.
The SEC just commented with the eyeball watching emoji.
This is a job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ-FM and HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station and the home of the Golden State Warriors and Valkyries. Always live on the free Odyssey app and now coming to you live from the Laughing Monk Studios. Now back to the Orange and Black Weekend Wrap on 95.7 The Game.
We are back on the Orange and Black Weekend Wrap. Sam Lum alongside Dan Navone, final hour here of the show. Boy, do we have a lot planned for you in this hour here. A couple non-baseball things I want to get out of the way and just let everybody know that they are happening. The first non-baseball thing that I want to bring up is LeBron James. He is a Philadelphia 76er.
Him.
Anyway, that's the end of that story. The other story I want to bring up is Kyle Shanahan, 49ers head coach, is involved in a car accident roughly 11 days ago. And apparently he suffered a lot of injuries, a broken hand, 3 broken ribs, a broken nose, concussion, 40 total stitches. Chris Forster will be kind of the point man, the interim head coach, I guess, so to speak, at the start of training camp here. The good news is no drugs or alcohol were involved. So you're normal, sober car accident.
And he's alive.
And he's alive. Yes, I do want to point that out. I would have let off with that if that was the case. Well, we'd be having a totally different show if that was the case. So it sounds like Kyle's going to be okay. It's a scary situation, banged up, injured, but it sounds like he's going to make a full recovery, though he might be absent for parts of training camp, unfortunately. But the good news is it sounds like coach is going to be okay. They expect a full recovery, however long that takes there. So our thoughts are with you, Kyle Shanahan. Get well soon. And I guess when you're recovering, he'll probably be grinding a lot of tape because, Kyle, he just can't stop working ever.
How did this happen on July 14th, which was over?
I know. That's actually kind of like, how did it keep quiet for 11 days?
Yeah.
Hey, man, people just know when to not talk, I guess.
Well, the reason it's not quiet anymore is because they have some stuff coming up this weekend with training camp.
That's true. I guess when he's not, when they're all the media files into the auditorium at Levi's and Chris Forster walks in and not Kyle, people like, what's going on here?
But when there's an accident, usually that's for public consumption. I mean, when they put that out when there's an accident.
Do they list names in that though?
That's a good question.
Because I when I did KCBS traffic, we had the CAD and everything that tells you when all the accidents are going through. And it wouldn't say like people or anything like that. It would say party out of vehicle. Maybe I don't know if the little logger would say, party out of vehicle OMG, it's Kyle Shanahan. Yeah. Like I don't know if that would be included.
It's entirely different when you get a DUI.
Yes, that's cool. That's public police record. And again, there was no drugs and alcohol in this one, so you don't need police activity in that sense there. And, car accidents happen. I've crashed a car before. Not a fun thing to do.
I crashed my dad's Cordoba because I was looking at myself after I just got a haircut in high school. I was looking in the rearview mirror.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. That is, you got in a car accident because you were checking yourself out after
just got a haircut. I was like 18, man.
Was he mad?
No, he had like a temper, but he was pretty chill. He was just like, geez, you got to be kidding me. I don't really remember. No, I don't think he was.
Come on, Obi.
Yeah, thank. Did you know that? Oh my God!
I listened to you.
Wow. All right. My middle name was O'Brien. I grew up Obi. So.
Oh, okay. I didn't know your middle name was O'Brien.
Yeah. Named after an Irish priest.
Okay. My middle name's Patrick, also an Irish name.
Yeah.
Laddie. So, there we go. A lot of Irish on this show. All right. Very cool. No, I got into a car accident. It was I got my grandma's old Chrysler Concorde because she was getting up there. She couldn't drive anymore, so I inherited that car. It was an 88 Chrysler Concorde, and oh, God, Dan, it was just the sweetest car. The squishiest leather seats, just a horrific, just nightmare to turn, the worst turn radius ever. But it was a really fun car, and I was driving home from hanging out with some friends one day in traffic and was trying to merge lanes. And the problem with that Concorde is the windows aren't, like, big in the back, so it's hard to see kind of where the cars are at. And as I was looking over my shoulder to merge, I looked back just in time to see the front of my car go into the back of a Ford F-250. And yeah, it was my 18th birthday a week later.
Wow.
That was
you
not
okay?
fun. Oh, yeah, I was fine. I got out. I was just sad. I like that car a lot. And, but you live and learn, you move on, and everything was good there. So, we've all been in car accidents. So Coach Shanahan,
speedy recovery, man.
Hopefully you can feel better there too. All right, getting back into some Giants talk here. We heard from Dave Fleming on the other side, kind of what the Giants' deadline focus should be. Here's what Fleming said earlier this week when he joined us on the Morning Roast about the hardest question the Giants need to ask at this deadline.
The hardest question to ask and answer by far is, what is our realistic championship timeline? And if the answer to that question is not next year, if the Giants take a cold, hard, honest look and say, how close are we to being as good as we need to be a playoff team and a World Series winning team? And if the answer to that question is not, we're close, then you can make some hard decisions about guys who aren't just free agents at the end of this year, but who might not fit that championship timeline. That's where organizations have to make really tough calls. But if a guy has a lot of value now and you don't think that in your window of having him under contract, you're a championship caliber team and you can get players who are more in that window, those are smart baseball decisions. And I'm glad I'm not the one who has to make those calls, but that's the big question that has to get answered.
So again, obviously guys like Robbie Ray, Luis Arias, they're probably not going to be back next year because the Giants are not going to be, I think, in contention next year. They'll be better, but I don't think they'll be in contention, though. But in 2028 and beyond, though, Dan.
See, I think they could be in contention next year, but go ahead.
You think so? Okay.
I think very much so.
I think next year, I think next year could be like they're starting to arrive year, and this is why I want to get Ruderman on. I guess he just dropped off, and we need to get him back on in just a moment. But this is something that Ruderman and I discuss a lot about, where the Giants are in the contention timeline. Like if next year can kind of be like a 2008 type year, where you start to see come together towards the end of the season. And then 2028 kind of becomes like a 2009 type year where they're knocking on the door. Then by 2029, I think you're cooking with some hot grease. Potentially. I think things could play out that way. Maybe next year's a rough year. Maybe, 2028, 2029, 2030, that's when you really start ramping things up there. So it's, when do you think they're going to be good next? And who's going to be around for that time? And the Giants in 2028, the Giants under contract through 2028. Obviously, your bigger names, Devers Webb, Chapman Adames. Jung-Hoo Lee, if he opts into his player option. Adrian Hauser has a club option. I don't think he'll be back. Everyone else on the roster, Casey Schmidt's arbitration eligible. Ramos, ARB eligible. Eric Miller, Keaton Wynn, Landon Roop. They'll all be ARB eligible in 2028. And then you got your pre-ARB guys, Susac, Gilbert, Bryce, Christian Koss, Jesus Rodriguez, Kavanaugh, and Grant McCray. Those are all the guys who are set to be on this roster in 2028. If you think this team can be good in 2028, a lot of those guys probably will still be there, except for Adrian Hauser.
Well, let me ask you this. If we'll go through position by position. forget about potentially who they can acquire in a trade or the trade deadline, but just to go through, we'll just stay with the infield. What's your ideal starting infield for the San Francisco Giants? Say, coming back in 2027, starting at first base for the San Francisco Giants. You can start the catcher position and go right around.
Well, I think in the catcher position, you got 3 rookies. You got to take 2 of your 3 rookies. Right now, my guess, I would probably lean Susac and J-Rod.
Yeah. And I feel good about that. I don't know about you.
Honestly, there's things I like about all 3 of these rookie catchers here. I love Susac's aggression out there. I think Rodriguez, the versatility is
Susac's got a nice little attitude on him.
He does. He plays with a chip. In fact, I think it'd be Susac and Cavanaugh next year. Rodriguez, I like the positional versatility. The defense, I still think needs to come along a little bit more, though. Cavanaugh, I love how he's handled his pitching rotation, the small sample size we've seen from him. I think he's got a pretty solid arm, too. I think he's got a really good pop time as well. I think actually his pop time is the best out of these 3 young catchers on this team. So we agree
catching is not necessarily an area of need.
I don't know if it's an area of need, but I'm not satisfied with it either, but I'm willing to see what these 3 got. First base, I think you're still doing the Devers Eldridge dance.
Yeah, see, that's where you lose me.
I know. We'll have to figure that out. Second base, I don't know. I don't know what second base looks like right now. I need to see what this team... It's hard for me to pick a lineup for next year, Dan, until the deadline. I'm copping out on that, though, but second base, we'll see. Shortstop, again, unless they move off Adames. I think Adames is the least likely to be moved off of the 3A because he's hard to move off of 1 and 2. There's no ready-made shortstop they can just plug in there. I guess they could do Casey, but that's not the best option. Third base, it's going to be either Casey or Chapman.
And he's hit better over the latter part of the season.
And a little bit. Casey and Chapman, one of those 2 will be at third. Outfield, I think it's a little bit more up in the air. It depends, again, I think, who they get back at the trade deadline right now. But honestly, I like the outfield right now of a Ramos, Jung-Hoo Lee pairing out there and left and right. I like Drew Gilbert on this team. I don't want him to go anywhere. I like what we're seeing from Grant McCray. And Risotto had a great line at the beginning before the show. Just if only Grant McCray could hit. And I'm willing to see if the back can develop there. But I think he's a very good defender. He's great on the base pass. He's got a good arm. And he's a fun guy. I like talking with him, too. You know who I really like talking with? Steven Ruderman. Let's get Ruderman on the phone. And I'm actually glad we got him on right now because this is a conversation he and I have a lot in terms of where the Giants are at. In this contention timeline. So I want to know what he has to say about what Dave Fleming said there. So here's our friend Steven Ruderman on the River Islands guest line. You can hear part of sports radio service, covers the Giants and the River Cats. You can also hear him calling the occasional Cal Bears baseball game, fresh out of bed. How you doing?
But it's the Ruderman replay is why.
And it's the Ruderman replay, obviously, because
each and every week he will replay either from the night before, from the week before. We leave it up to his discretion for the Ruderman replay. Now he's grown into sort of an entity where you two like to ham it up about baseball. But Ruderman, how are you, buddy?
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. I'm good. How are you guys?
Yeah, we got a win last night, so I'm in a good mood.
A win is a win.
What did you there's some fans out there, one in particular that felt that the celebration was a bit excessive. Your thoughts, Rudy?
I understand that. A win's a win. It feels good to win. I'm not going to get on their case for celebrating as long as they're not doing. Oh wait, did Willie throw water on Rafi?
He did, yes.
I mean, we didn't see him throw. Okay,
they tried to rip his jersey off too.
Under 500.
Willie and Arias were trying very hard to rip Rafi's jersey off.
I don't know that I want to see that.
I think he had an undershirt on at least.
Talk about Arias. There's a good chance that he will not be a Giant 9 days from now. However, when you talk about second baseman for 2027, he's going to be 30 next year. And slap and Judy hitter, your normal ball player declines 32, 33, and if you're lucky, 34. Slap and Judy guy like Arias, he might get an extra year, so maybe 33, 34, 35. I think you could give him a 5 or 6 year deal. I think he's someone who does fit into the long-term plans. As for what Dave Fleming said, Dave Fleming and Larry Baer both said this. I don't think next year is going to be win it all. I doubt 2028 will be either. But you never know what can happen. It's baseball. You're 0-0 just like everyone else at the start of the year. You can't really predict the future, so you don't really know what's going to happen. You do have to look at what realistically is happening, but as Fleming and Larry Baer both said, they don't really need to tear things down, but they are going to need to make some cold, hard, honest decisions that are not going to be that are going to hurt. Probably one of the following 3, Ramos, Lee, Arias, will probably not be a Giant in 9 days, and that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt a lot, but in terms of the future, it's something that has to be done. I do think as I said, you're 0-0 just like everyone else at the start of the year. I do think anything could happen, and I think this team could feasibly be around 500 again the next 2 years. I would say probably 2029 is when you're looking at this team being and ready to win a World Series. And as I said, that's why I would bring back Luis Arias. He's a guy who is perfect for this ballpark. Ron Washington has brought his defense to life, and I think he's going to be a big part of this team's future. And I hope if they do end up trading him, that they bring him back on a 5 or 6 year deal.
But again, Ruderman, I agree with you. I'd love to have Arias back long term, but I just feel I have a hard time greenlighting that if you can't move one of the other big three. I mean, if you had to move off one of these big three, how would you go about doing it? Who would you try and call up? Who would you which of the big three do you want to move the most? And who would you move them to? How would you try and make that trade happen? Fix everything, please.
Well, I would say probably Arias is the one the Giants will get the most for. Ramos is probably the guy I'd probably want to move the most. I'd hate to see any of them go, but of all the three, gun to my head, I have to choose one who I would miss. I don't want to say miss the least, but it would hurt the least would probably be Elliot Ramos.
Well, okay, I meant the big three of Chapman, Adames, and Devers, but you took it in an interesting direction there. Let's follow that. Why Ramos? Because I think he's under team control till like 2029 or 2030.
Here's the thing with Ramos. I would like to keep all three of those guys, but I feel like, unfortunately, of Arias, Ramos, and Lee, one of those three is probably going in the next 9 days. It's probably going to be Arias. That's going to hurt the most. But if you could trade Ramos and get some prospects in return for that, that makes it easier to bring Arias back long term, and you could potentially fill the void with a prospect. Now, I will go on the big three. The guy on the big three I absolutely want to trade, and it's a no-doubter, is Rafael Devers. You know, we all saw what happened in Miami last month. This is not a guy that's going to fit into the long-term plans for this team. He's not happy. He's not particularly happy at first base. I know some people have called me nuts for this, but I think the Yankees would be a good destination for him. Yankees need a third baseman. Tor Porch in right field's perfect for Rafi, and yeah, they put up with Jazz Chisholm in New York. They could put up with Rafi, and Brian Cashman may be nuts enough to take that deal. And honestly, if Buster chips in enough money, I don't care if the best you get in return is the Yankees' third-string bat boy that they brought in from Long Island. Whatever you could do to make a trade like that, do it.
I feel like, so would you be willing to staple like an El Ramos onto Devers? That kind of greases the wheels to make that trade happen a little bit more?
Yes.
So it seems like if I were to ask you, what do you think is the more important focus of this deadline? Would it be moving off of those big three contracts, but maybe you don't get prospects back? Or would you rather make moves to bring prospects back, even if that means you're maybe saddled with your big three contracts still?
That is a good question. Gun to my head, I have to choose one. If the best they can do at the deadline is just move off a Rafi, I would probably take that, considering the draft the Giants just had, bringing in Jackson Flora. They signed the guy, their second-round pick, yesterday. I was a little worried they weren't going to be able to sign him because he's, like 17 or 18 or something, and that he'd go to college, but he's signing. Buster and the Giants had a great draft, so if I have to make like one or the other, I would choose moving off of Rafi Devers over adding more prospects. And I am serious about that, because when
you lose me with the Elliot Ramos, you're going to have to explain to me why. And forget about
I'm not saying I want
packaging him. Forget about the packaging.
I want to move on from Ramos. I'm just saying, of the three guys who are likely to be traded, Ramos, Lee, and Arias, trading Ramos would probably hurt the least. It would still hurt. Ramos is a great team player. He's been so much fun to watch over the last 2+ years. But if the Giants have to trade one of those three for prospects, he'd be the one that...
I guess if it's just, okay, not you necessarily, but if it's the Giants, and again, I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I guess I'm just sort of curious as to the thinking here. Why would the San Francisco Giants feel as though they're improving their team, moving off of Elliot Ramos? First of all, who plays left field? And secondly, you're getting back prospects, but you just hope that maybe they're as good as Elliot Ramos. I mean, there's the potential that they could be better. I just don't understand. I guess the logic doesn't make a lot of sense to me for the here and now as well as the future.
The reason I would, if I could, move off Ramos over the other two is because Lee and Arias are perfect slap hitters for this ballpark. They're the guys who are made to play in this ballpark. They're not guys who always try and hit home runs. They're guys who can hit to all fields and come through in big RBI situations. as I said, it's a tough decision with those three, but Ramos is a guy who will strike out more than the other two. And what I've said that for a long time is that the Giants need to build a team similar to that of the 2010s, which relies on pitching, contact situational hitting, and defense. And guys like Leon Arias, they fit in perfectly with that brand of baseball. Now, in terms of who would replace him in the outfield, that's a very good question. If you could get an outfield prospect, that would help. You could also look at who's on the free agent market this offseason. You also have some prospects. You got Bo Davidson in the minors, and a couple other guys in the outfield who could make an impact. So I think there is room there. Drew Gilbert, I'm not saying he's an outfielder for the future, but I do feel like Drew Gilbert has potential. The guy really plays the guy just busts it out every night he's at the park. Last night he took that emergency 2-strike swing. I forget whether it was in the second or third inning. And it was a pitch that was a good 2 or 3 inches off plate, but just a nice little 2-strike emergency swing and to slap a nice, smooth, clean base hit to center field. I do think Gilbert has talent. He's a good outfielder. He has shown the ability to play right field well here at Oracle Park, which is very hard to play.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, I'm not putting all my eggs in the Drew Gilbert basket, and he may end up not panning out, but he is someone who I could see being a solid major league outfielder.
Yeah, I'm with you when it comes to Drew Gilbert. I think Drew Gilbert could be the next Casey Schmidt. I don't think he's going to hit for that sort of power. But I can
like
see
the
him,
development arc, though.
Exactly. I like that sort of ascension where he just needs reps. I know they don't think he can hit against left-handed pitching. Well, you got to let him play against left-handed pitching. I think he could be one of those guys in a year or two from now where like, wow, he had that sort of breakout season like that of a Casey Schmidt this year.
I could see that too.
Ruderman, do you want to give us – go ahead, buddy.
Before the Giants traded for Gilbert last year, he might have been in the top 100 prospects in baseball in 2024. I'm not saying he was, but I think he might have been. As I said, there is real talent with Drew Gilbert. And as I said, next year and here's the thing with next year. I think
he looks like a baseball player, too. Not that that means anything.
He does, and he's got a great attitude. He's great in the clubhouse. He's the kind of personality that the game is sorely lacking. I think the Giants should give him a legitimate shot. And let's be honest, the Giants have been rebuilding since last July, since the deadline last year. This year, they were not 100% in. I don't think people want to acknowledge that, but I think it's the truth. Next 2 years are likely going to be the same. And, yes, go for it next year because anything can happen. But I think Drew Gilbert's a guy who I would have in my opening day outfield, whenever opening day may be. So, and I will make it clear, under no circumstances will I accept there being no baseball next year.
No, well, hopefully by that. Steve, we're getting up against it. We need your Ruderman replay, though. So, obviously, there's the walk-off last night. There's the Willy Adames tag that wasn't a tag from the other day.
To Rudy.
Or maybe there's a different call. What's going to be our replay this week that you're going to give us a call for?
All right, here's Devers now. Here's the pitch. Swinging a fly ball to left. Unless something really crazy happens, this one's going to be over, and it's going to fall in there and bounce over the wall, and the Giants are going to win it. And believe it or not, Rafael Devers almost missed first base. But, hey, he gets the game-winning hit, and the Giants have snapped their 5-game winning streak. They beat the Angels here in 10 innings.
And there you go. There is our Ruderman replay. Steven, thanks for calling in, and there he goes. I'll see you at the ballpark later. He brings up Drew Gilbert. Drew Gilbert was the 11th ranked Mets prospect last year, according to our friend Keith
He was a first-round pick, according to Pizza.
Yeah.
I mean, pasta.
Pizza, pasta, Rizzo. It's all Italian.
All right, Dave.
I am Seth Lubman here on the Orange and Black Weekend Wrap. We're going to finish the show up on the other side. We're going to hear a conversation with Bryce Eldridge. One he should play also what Tony Vitello said about Bryce Eldridge last night as well. And
Does he have a mullet?
Bryce?
Yeah.
No, he's got normal hair.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, he's normal looking dude.
Not yet, at least.
Yeah, well, maybe someday. I don't know if he's a mullet guy. Maybe I'll ask him that.
It just looks like when he takes his hat off sometimes, it looks like he's rocking a mullet a little bit.
I don't know. I'll ask him maybe at some point, hey, my
coach. Ask him, you just go look at his head.
Well, no, I don't think he has a mullet, but if he would ever grow out a mullet, I'm curious.
I see.
Hey, Bryce.
Can you take off your hat for me?
Yeah, Bryce, I want to see if you're going to grow a mullet. You know, we'll get there. I mean,
best mullet ever in Major League Baseball? John Crook.
John who?
Crook.
Oh, Crook, yeah. That's not Rob Beck.
Ooh. Shooter had a good one.
Especially with the Fu Manchu on top of that as well. Like, there's some good news. Now I got to think about great mullets in baseball. Maybe we'll try to think about it during the break. We'll hear from Bryce on the other side and wrap up the show as well. Giants take on the Angels today at 1 o'clock. We got a lineup as well that I'll share with you. God, I need to stop teasing everything. Brought to you by Fremont Bank, here for good.
Sam, Dave. Hey, it's Willard and Dibbs for Safeway. Enjoy these amazing deals for members. And as always, save up to 20% weekly on hundreds of exclusive offers from Safeway. Just clip the highlighted deals from the weekly mailer or click the deals in the For You section of the Safeway app to breeze through checkout. Buy one, get one free of equal or lesser value on juicy, personal, seedless watermelons when you buy two. And here's my personal partner, Dan Dibley.
Yes, and you can get Signature Select Thick Cut Bacon 48-ounce selected varieties sold in 3-pound packages for $4.99 per pound. 10 for $10 mix and match is back. Save on items like Pastaroni or Rice-A-Roni, 4.3 to 7.2 ounce varieties, or Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water gallon size. Add CRV where applicable. Member price $1 each for selected varieties. See your store for a full list of participating items.
We invite you to go to Safeway.com for more of these details, and we will see you in the aisles.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
Hi, I'm David.
I'm Chris.
And I'm John. We are the three brothers who own Jack's Restaurant and Bar. And we are here to... Not again. That's my line.
That was my line.
Boy, stop it.
Mom? What are you doing here?
Have you heard your commercials? They're terrible.
That's not our fault. You taught us how to cook delicious food.
Using only the freshest ingredients.
And to treat all our guests like family visiting our home. But you didn't teach us how to write catchy radio spots.
They remember that and get back to work.
Yes, Mom. Jack's, serving delicious breakfast, lunch, dinner, and drinks the way our mom taught us.
ilovejacks.com.
So, I need hamburgers, sodas, ice, and a DJ.
A DJ?
Relax, Spot. With T-Mobile, we're saving when we bundle home internet and phone lines.
Oh, wow! Here to bundle and save big. Stay connected con tu gente with 4 lines from T-Mobile with fast, easy-to-set-up 5G home internet and save up to $1,000 a year. Switch now on T-Mobile.com/conectate. Savings based on third line free via monthly bill credits. Internet discount with $15 in monthly bill credits and auto-pay discount. Qualifying credit required. Credits will stop if you cancel any lines or change plans. Visit T-Mobile.com. I think we should have an open relationship.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Let's definitely do that.
With our cars.
Oh, Flex Car. Yeah, that's what I meant too.
Flex Car is the first and only month-to-month car lease. Swing from a Wrangler 1 month to a Prius the next. Flex Car. You drive everything.
When it comes to decking, TimberTech stands out. It's the best-looking decking you'll find on the market, trusted by contractors for its unbeatable quality. But TimberTech isn't just about looking great today. Thanks to its advanced technology and unparalleled durability, the TimberTech decks you build will still look amazing decades from now. Add in industry-leading warranties, and it's clear why TimberTech is the top choice. Build with confidence. Build with TimberTech, the #1 brand in premium decking. Find it locally at Ashby Lumber.
Here's good news for folks who have a jumbo loan. The Loan Exchange, America's jumbo lender, is offering a 30-year fixed-rate loan at a 5.75% interest rate and 5.939% APR for loan amounts up to $3 million. So if you have a mortgage with an interest rate of 6% or higher, give America's jumbo lender a call at 833-436-8800. You drive around to find the cheapest gas, so why not refinance your mortgage? Every day you wait, you're wasting money on needless interest. Go to theloanexchange.com or call 833-436-8800 to find out what your savings will be with a new 30-year fixed-rate loan at 5.75% interest rate and 5.939% APR. NMLS 1637539. Loan subject to credit approval. See website for licensing information, loan terms and conditions. Equal housing lender. That's theloanexchange.com or call 833-436-8800 for a 30-year fixed-rate loan at 5.75% interest rate and 5.939% APR.
That's Elena's family group chat. It never stops. Someone's always sending a blessing
or starting a poll about the baby shower theme at midnight.
With Real Unlimited from Total Wireless, she's always in the loop, whether she wants to be or not. Switch to Total Wireless Total Starter Plan or higher and get a Samsung Galaxy A16 5G on us. Total Wireless, your own Real Unlimited. Offer ends 11/4/2026 or while supplies last. Devices, taxes, and fees may apply.
If life is a game to be won,
then every child deserves to play on a level field. Children International is empowering young people in poverty on their journey by giving them the tools, the training, and the skills to shape their own futures. From the early days of development through all stages of growth and into employment. This is how, together, we can help end poverty for good. Learn more at children.org.
The Colonel's cooked up a new $10 bucket of the day just for you. Monday, 24 nuggets for $10. Tuesday, 8-piece fried chicken for $10. Wednesday, 10 wings for $10. Thursday, 8 tenders for $10. Friday, 24 nuggets for... Ooh, you guessed it, didn't you? $10. Finger licking machine. The $10 bucket of the day deal. Every weekday. Only at KFC. It's finger licking good.
Prices and participation variable. Supplies last. Not available on third-party ordering platforms. Tax extra.
It's icy, refreshing, and sure to be the sip of the summer. Burger King just released the new Orange Dreamsicle Freeze King, an orange-flavored frozen beverage topped with cold foam and crumble. Available for a limited time. For your chance to win a gift card, visit 957thegame.com.
Now back to the Orange and Black Weekend Wrap on 95.7 The Game.
Oh, it's not someone that I used to know. Anyway, final half hour of the Orange and Black Weekend Wrap. I'm going to get right into this. Had a conversation with Bryce Eldridge yesterday. Want to play it here just for fun, a little quick hitter, because, we are a Giants show, and I like to try and get Giants voices on this show as often as possible. So, Dan, I know I just made you rush back into the studio here to do this segment. I'm going to play this quick 4-minute interview here with Bryce.
It's golfing.
And I'll let you get back to your golf swings here a little bit. So here's a quick interview courtesy of the River Islands guest line. My conversation with Giants first baseman Bryce Eldridge. Got Bryce Eldridge here joining me on the Orange and Black Weekend Wrap. Bryce, thanks for joining me here on the side of the field here on this Friday afternoon. How you doing this week, man?
It's been good. Just getting back into the swing of things. No pun intended. After the little All-Star break. Good to be back home. We haven't been back here in a while. The weather's beautiful, so doing good.
Yeah. What did you do during the All-Star break?
I went and saw my lady down in, she's at Pepperdine, so we're hanging out like Calabasas, Malibu area. I went to Disneyland, so that was the highlight of the trip. Disneyland was very fun.
What's your favorite ride at Disneyland?
Probably the Guardians of the Galaxy drop tower.
All right, I've heard that's a good one, too. Awesome. So you've been in the big leagues now for a couple months now, and you've had some good moments here. You've had a big Grand Slam. That was a big high point for a lot of Giants fans so far this year. What's these last couple months been for you like here at the big league level?
It's been amazing. I'm happy to be here, happy to continue to learn at this level every day. I feel like I've grown a lot as a person and a player. And, like I said, just grateful to be here. Just grateful to be healthy and be able to contribute in any way I can. And obviously it's been a little tough with how things have gone for the team, but I think we're all just continuing to keep our heads up, keep fighting to finish this year strong.
Yeah, and I mentioned that Grand Slam. You also had your first splash hit as well. I believe you got both those balls back, right? Where are they at now?
The Grand Slam ball I have in my locker, and the splash hit, I have both of them. I think they're both in my locker in a little case.
There you go. All right, Bryce Eldridge here on the Orange and Black Weekend Wrap. How's it been like working with Wash at first base?
It's been amazing. I feel like I've gotten a lot better at first every year I've been in pro ball, but I think this year I've made my biggest jumps. Just getting with him from the first day of camp in spring, literally every single day. Obviously, I was in SAC for about a month, but I was still doing his routine and his routine work that he had us doing in spring. But I've been working with him every day. I feel like I've been making some huge strides, and there's no one else that I want, holding me accountable and being on me and working with me than Wash.
No, I enjoy watching you guys work together and your own little workouts together, so it's been fun to see as well. I wanted to ask about back when you were in high school, when you were a pitcher. What were you like when you were a pitcher, or as a pitcher?
I had a power arm. I think that's kind of why I got myself on the map as a pitcher. I developed a ability to throw strikes consistently. I think that was the big thing. I could throw strikes, I could fill up the zone, and I had two secondary pitches. I had a slider. I had a curveball too that I used, but the changeup was my other main one. And I had a power arm, and that's why I got on the map early as a pitcher.
Do you miss pitching at all?
No, not anymore. I wish I had gotten a little bit of an opportunity to do it in pro ball just to see how that would have went, but obviously it's very tough, and there's only one guy doing it right now. So, it makes me tip the cap to him even more that he's been able to do what he's been able to do at this level.
Yeah, because that was going to be my next question. You were initially drafted as a two-way player, and for Giants fans, there's kind of like this whole, could we get our own version of a two-way player? Was there ever a push for you to try and be that two-way player, or did you just kind of decide, I'm going to be a hitter pretty quickly after you joined this organization?
Yeah, it happened pretty quick. I went into my final end of the season in my draft year not being available to pitch. I had a lat strain and I had a banged up shoulder, and my whole body was kind of banged up after that high school season. I threw a lot of innings, played a lot, so we kind of shut it down for the end of that 2023 year. And going into the off season, I had a good end of the season hitting and rookie ball and in low A, and I think the Giants kind of just envisioned me being their first baseman of the future, and here we are. I don't think I'd be here if I was still pitching. So I'm just grateful to be here, grateful to be healthy, playing first base, DH, and do whatever.
How would Bryce Eldridge, the hitter, face Bryce Eldridge, the pitcher?
Always be on the fastball. Obviously, back in high school, if you got over 90 miles an hour, you're probably going to throw that fastball a lot. So I threw a lot of heaters. If I was a pitcher, I would just go change up, see if he can get me to chase something, but try and get me off balance a little bit.
I didn't want to ask how you approach the hitter because I don't want to give anything away, but since you brought it up,
you went there. They know these guys know what they're doing. They're looking at their books. They got every statistic they got. So yeah. I ain't giving anything away. They know what they're doing up there. So
I know you gotta go hit. So thanks for chatting with you, Bryce. Appreciate it.
There we go. That was my quick hitter there with Giants first baseman, DH, rookie sensation, the future and everything for the next 15 years.
The future,
Bryce Eldridge. I cut that part out, but I actually started off by saying, so I'm chatting with Bryce Harper here, and it was like, no, that's not your name. Oops. But he was cool about it. Yeah, it's morning show brain. That's what happens. Your brain doesn't work the way it's supposed to.
That's a clown question, bro.
Right, exactly. That was a clown start to that. But we bounced back. We adjusted. We were good there. So before we finish up the show, a couple non-baseball things. First off, Colson Lee on YouTube. I want to give you a shout out. I met you at the game yesterday. You were wearing an Angels jersey, which wasn't really cool. But you know what? Glad you came up and said what's up. So nice to meet you, Colson. Said he was an A's fan. Obviously jumped off that bandwagon and decided to wear a different kind of A jersey. So shout out to you, Colson. Glad to meet you yesterday in the club level. Second thing I want to point out, LeBron James, a Philadelphia 76er. Third thing I want to point out, you like how much time I spent on that? Third thing I want to point out, Kyle Shanahan was involved in a car accident about 11 days ago on July 14th. It was just being reported today. Unfortunately, it sounds like broken hand, broken nose, 3 broken ribs, 40 stitches in the face, and a concussion. John Lynch has spoken to the media, and this is from our friend Matt Lively at KPIX. John Lynch says that Kyle Shanahan's bone injuries, hand, nose, ribs, aren't keeping him away, but rather the concussion from the accident is what is keeping him away from the team right now. So again, Kyle Shanahan does sound like everything's going to be okay when it's all said and done. No drugs or alcohol involved in the accident. Still a scary situation. Sounds like coach is going to be okay, albeit he will be away from the team for a while. And I don't know, maybe that beautiful mug of his might have a little bit of a Tyrion Lannister-like scar on it or something like that.
Do we know if he was driving? We're going to assume that he was.
I did not see that in the story, but either way, it's hopefully, again, wishing coach a speedy recovery there because we need Kyle Shanahan back. Can you imagine him on the sideline next year, that big old scar down his face while he's like scowling at Renato Green for blowing a coverage? That guy's scary enough when he's angry. You throw a scar on top of that?
Yeah.
Ugh. Well, we're never going to piss him off then.
In all seriousness, anytime you hear car accident, it's just, hey, listen, it's a reminder of just how fragile life is and just that you hope that he's okay first and foremost.
And drive safe out there, everybody. If you're on the roads, drive safe. Don't drive like a bat out of hell. Just be careful on the roads. Again, I'm bringing up light aspects of this conversation because it does sound like he's going to be okay at the end of the day. So it's not going to be the massive tragedy, but it's a scary situation. So again, Kyle Shanahan involved in a car accident. Hopefully he will be back with the 49ers soon. So you just heard my conversation with Bryce Eldridge there. It was a quick 4.5-minute conversation I got with him yesterday. He was, in the middle of things that he had to do pre-game, so I had to let him go off and do that. But, Dan, we're talking about earlier in the show, enjoying nice things in a lost season. Was our friend Jeff in LA. He didn't like the celebration last night during a bad year. And I get that. I get why it's hard to be happy in a season like this. But when you're having a season like this, though, I think...
Let me interrupt you for a second.
Yeah.
What is it that is annoying, Jeff, about the celebration?
I think it's more just when you're a bad team and you're celebrating like you won a World Series like that, there's kind of like a, don't forget where you're at kind of thing, maybe. I don't know. I don't want to speak for Jeff.
No, I'm trying to understand what is it that would annoy somebody?
When everything's just going bad, they don't want to, I guess so. Some people are just like, no, you can't have fun when you're like, fun is a privilege. And,
okay.
In a season where nothing is going right, you got to find the things that are going right, and you got to hold on to them. And Bryce Eldridge this year has been just there's been a lot of shining rays of light in this dark season, ironically enough. He has been the brightest shining light for this season. And in a season where just nothing's going right, everything's awful. I keep saying nothing's going right, but things are going right. In a season like this where everything's just been so miserable, like latching on to the performance of a Bryce Eldridge this year, the grand slam he had earlier this year against the Nationals, he draws the walk in the first inning that sets up the Devers home run. He gets the ground rule double later on in the game. I believe it was the third inning that came before the Devers walk, and then the Casey Schmidt home run. Bryce Eldridge, just every game is doing something positive. And the Giants could go out there and lose 13-0, but if Bryce has 4 good at-bats, even if they don't always end in hits, then I'm feeling good, because a guy who is such a big key part of this future, the future of this organization, is showing signs that he will come through on that promise. And so whenever Bryce Eldridge has a good day, whenever Bryce Eldridge does something right, I consider that a win. I do. Now, in the grand scheme of things, it shouldn't be that way, but it is, because when there's just so much losing going on, but I see positives from Bryce Eldridge, I see positives from Jung Hoo Lee, I see positives from Grant McCray. If you're not winning right now, it's what can you do to show me you'll be winning later? And those guys are showing me ways that this team will be winning later. And Bryce Eldridge, just thank God for you, because you have made this season so much more bearable than it would have been otherwise if you either weren't here or you were struggling.
Yeah, I put Casey Schmidt up there with him as well. The one thing that he did last night, and sort of your positive takeaways, his ground rule double, I think that's sort of the indicator of things to come. First of all, the patience at the plate for a guy at 21 years of age, the ability to go deep into counts. But when he goes, usually, this is just my experience in watching the game, and usually guys, when their strength is that oppo gap, someone like Bryce Eldridge, a left-hand hitter, but his strength and his power is to left center field, which is where that ground rule double was. I remember covering Alex Rodriguez for this big, lanky, strong, right-handed, 6'4" hitter. His strength was always in that oppo power gap to right center field. And that's always sort of an indicator of a real good hitter. And I think seeing what it is that Eldridge did yesterday when he went to left center field for a 6'7", imposing hitter is sort of, along the lines of what it is that you're saying, that it's an indicator of a lot of good things to come from this man.
Mm-hmm. And again, it's why, as we're talking about what the future of this team could look like, could they bounce back next year and be better under Tony Vitello, under somebody else? If you're looking for those reasons as to why that bounce back could happen sooner rather than later, Bryce Eldridge doing things like that is what you're pointing to. It's also not just Bryce, though. It's when you get good outings from Landon Roop. It's, when you get good nights like that from Grant McCray, and or when guys like Drew Kavanaugh or Andrew Susac, Daniel Susac, Casey Schmidt, guys who are going to be here for the next 4 or 5 years, when they're performing now and there's still runway for them to get better, those are the positives that you're finding this year. And it brings me to something else that Tony Vitello said after the game last night. I mentioned the Bryce Eldridge walk, mentioned I think it was Kavanaugh, it was Kavanaugh who drew the other walk there. Was it Kavanaugh?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it wasn't Kavanaugh. I think it was Grant McCray drew another big walk as well. The patience of these young hitters, the patience of these young rookie hitters that is being exhibited here is so incredible to see. And I asked Tony about that. Here's what he had to say there.
They're maturing. You guys would be impressed at the conversations that take place after difficult losses on decisions made or situations, what guys were thinking. And it's a little easier to do with those young guys because they literally have not lived out some of those moments. So the only way you can learn is through experience. It doesn't mean if it's the first time you see a situation, you can't have success, but the experience helps. What makes it really help, I'll backtrack. I mean, experience, just because you were there or present doesn't mean you're going to get better. You've got to retain some information from it and make some adjustments. So it's impressive.
Again, very impressive to see how these young hitters have been maturing, getting that experience. And, of course, there's someone out there screaming, that's why Bryce should have been playing from day one. You know what? Bryce is playing now. We've litigated that whole conversation. But it's been fun. Again, the Grant McCray stuff last night, seeing how he has matured and grown this season, Dan. It's, again, in a dark season, there are reasons to be hopeful for what's coming next for this organization.
I don't think this team is very far away. I know that sounds ridiculous, and I think you're like on a 3-year track, 3 to 5 years.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I pointed Kansas City. Somebody has to explain that to me. So it's baseball, and it doesn't take much. The nucleus is there. This is not as you can go through every one of these positions, and every one of these guys is worthy of starting in just about any Major League Baseball team. So it's just something's amiss with the energy, the culture. Again, I think you can't fire everybody, so it's the reason why I would get rid of Vitello, because I think there's something there, and I point to, again, Philadelphia, and I point to Boston. It's not coincidental that when Alex Cora was shown the door, all of a sudden they pivot and win 14. Is their winning streak still intact?
No, it ended the other day.
Yeah, they won 14 in a row. And same with the Philadelphia Phillies. After that woeful start, they get rid of Rob Thompson, not to be confused with one Robbie Thompson, but here comes Don Mattingly. And it's something like that becomes, it's a fine line in Major League Baseball. And I disagree with Filmo Mike that camaraderie and getting the locker room right doesn't mean anything. Again, I point to the 2010 San Francisco Giants. That's what won you a damn World Series, is the fact a bunch of renegades and cast-offs had an opportunity and came together and all pulled for one another, that you could see that it was palpable that there was a special sort of secret sauce with this team, and the Giants have to recapture that. And another caller also brought, I think it might have been Ruderman, that talked about how far away the Giants have gotten away from their identity, which is pitching and defense and timely hitting.
And loading up on pitching at this deadline is going to be paramount for this team. And we're talking about all these young players and how they're going to be set for the future. It brings me to say that Larry Baer said on another radio station earlier this week, where he said, we absolutely want to focus on the future, Larry says, and I absolutely think we've got to do that through young players, absolutely, in our success. If you look at our success in this franchise, it's always been through the farm system and then adding players on. And that was with Buster's teams and those 10, 12, and 14 teams and beyond that. And having said that, it is true in those years, Larry goes on to say that in other years where we've been successful, the 2002 World Series, the 2000 National League best record, we've been able to win and develop at the same time. And then Larry kind of goes into, you're not going to get me to say that you just got to, in order to be successful, you got to pull the plug and just say to the fans that you're having several really bad years. You're not going to get me to say that. I don't believe it. And beyond that, I don't think any Giants front office person believes that, or anyone in ownership, that you just have to pull the plug completely for whatever you say for 3, 4, 5 years. Basically what Larry's saying is they're never going to do a strip it down rebuild and tank basically for a few years. But to say that this team isn't going to do a full-on rebuild or pull the plug or be bad for a few years, I mean, what have these last few years been?
That's true.
They haven't maybe pulled the plug, but they've been bad for the last few years. That being said, though, you are seeing this team, and they're not competing.
But it wasn't a rebuild.
They are doing I think Ruderman said, when they traded away Doval and Rogers last year, that's when the rebuild began. Called a quiet rebuild, a low-key rebuild.
I don't think it was a rebuild.
There's lots of ways to rebuild a franchise. You don't need to strip it down to the studs.
I think it was reinforcing your minor league system and getting prospects. I think it's a rebuild. If it's a rebuild, they're contradicting themselves by getting Devers.
Well, it's maybe that's why I think you use terms like soft rebuild. But what the Giants are doing is they are trying to rebuild, I think to your point, the minor league system, because when you rebuild your minor league system and then those guys matriculate up to the big league ball club, now you have a good team. And maybe some of these young players, you got to plug them in around your big three. Maybe one of them gets moved, but for right now, until they do, I'm going to assume that they're going to be here. So maybe your young players, they got to filter in around your big three contracts. They filter in around Ramos and Lee. The Giants are doing kind of a in the background rebuild right now. And you are seeing the fruits of that rebuild. You're seeing the performance of Bryce Eldridge. You're seeing the performances of Drew Gilbert, Grant McCrae, the 3 rookie catchers, the development of Casey Schmidt. Like, there's a lot of youth on this team that can move this team forward in a very positive direction in the next few years. And so but the youth you mentioned are all sort of ancillary pieces. Not Bryce.
No, Bryce, obviously.
I mean, that's your centerpiece right there.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Bryce. But I guess it's the definition. What's your definition? And I'd love to know what Larry Baer's definition of a rebuild. Does that mean getting rid of everybody? I mean, because John Hooley's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Elliot Ramos is good. Your infield is solid. So what is it exactly that we're rebuilding?
I mean, again, if you look at I always look at the arc that the Giants went through from 2005 to 2010. Every year, I mean, they were rebuilding during that time, but when they came in every year, the goal was to win as many games as possible. Now, they didn't get any big-time contracts, but it was also they had Barry Bonds there as well. But you're trotting out the best product you can on a daily basis. And if part of that best product is a young guy from the minor leagues, all right, then you put him in the lineup. Let's see what he can do. And I don't want to say it's a 2 timelines thing because you're not seriously competing in the moment. What you're trying to do is you're trying to put out a product that says we're trying to win, and we're going to try and filter our young guys in there to try and supplement that and see if they can take over and start adding to the winning. And that's what you saw happen. You saw old veteran-laden teams in 05, 06, 07 slowly give way to very young teams in 2008, 2009, and then you saw a championship in 2010 because the Giants in part drafted well, they developed well. That's part of it. They need to keep doing that if they want to be good again. But at no point during that stretch from 05 to 08 did the Giants tear it all down and strip it down to the studs and do a tank job rebuild. That's how I feel like you should be doing in baseball. It's put the best product out there that you can, get your young guys involved, and keep it going from there. It's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. And if they can't do that, then more people will be brought in who can. It's that simple.
I don't think they need to rebuild, but they do have to, and just to me, to oversimplify it, they have got to move either Chapman or Devers. And I'm with Rudiman. Rudy and I we're aligned. Rudy,
the Devers to the Yankees thing, I think, does make sense. They might have to take a guy back in return. I'm talking like a Ryan McMahon, who's their third baseman now. Well, you'd be stuck with him next year too, which that would kind of cause a different situation. But again, at
this point, he's just got to go.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if the Eldridge Devers marriage at first DH I think it could work this year. I think it even work next year. I think it'd work next year.
Oh, I don't.
But beyond that, though, like at some point, Rafi's going to have to be a full-time DH.
If Rafi, after getting a sniff of the emergence of what Eldridge has been able to do during the offseason, there's no way in hell he's going into next year in spring training and is going to be content with splitting time with Eldridge. I think that's going to be disruptive right from Jump Street.
I think the more likely time Rafi gets moved is in the offseason. But let's hope we have an offseason first.
It's going to be a fun trade deadline.
Oh, it will be. And we'll be talking about it a lot next week, too, on the Orange and Black Weekend Wrap. We will be back next week. No more vacations for you and I for the next few weeks here. So we are back. We are locked in. Giants are playing baseball in about an hour. Robbie Ray will be on the hill, and maybe the Giants can make it 2 in a row, get halfway to that fabled 4-game win streak. Oh, Wiz Hut will go Sunday? Yeah. Oh, awesome. Well, terrific. Can't wait to see him out there tomorrow as well. Can't wait to see you all back here on the Wrap next week. Thanks to Ruderman for joining in. Risotto behind the glass, Dan, thank you as well. And don't forget, everybody, Dodgers suck.
Later, dudes. Let it rip. Hang 10.
You listen to 95.7 The Game for the best sports insights. Now, use that same power to grow your business. When you advertise with us, you're reaching a massive audience of local consumers and business decision makers every day. Let our team help you build a game plan that delivers results. Scale your business and win the market. To get started, visit Advertise with 957 The Game at Odyssey.com. That's Advertise with 957 The Game at AUDACY.com.
J Vineyards returns as the official sparkling wine of the Golden State Valkyries, continuing its mission to uplift women across industries. J Vineyards and the Valkyries share a commitment to female leadership, ambition, and breaking barriers to support women who raise the bar in sports and beyond. So Valks fans, join us at the game, at home, or at Jay's Tasting Room in Healdsburg for a memorable experience. J Vineyards, raise a glass to excellence, on the court and in every bottle.
For families living with Duchenne muscular dystrophy, birthdays are a reminder the clock is ticking. For For too long, Duchenne muscular dystrophy has shortened lives. Cure Duchenne is changing that. Visit acurecan'twait.org.
Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? The IRS won't quit until they get your money. Here's great news, fresh from those in the know. Major changes have happened at the IRS. If you owe more than $10,000, you may be eligible for a 99% reduction of what you owe. Haven't filed a return for a while? Their happy clients are talking.
The IRS was going to levy my bank account, but Guardian was able to prevent that and fix all my IRS issues. Thanks again, Guardian Tax.
Need relief from crushing tax debt? The IRS now has special programs. Guardian Tax knows all about them. Personal or business, this is the fresh new brick you've been hoping for.
We aren't the company you call when you need a hug because you're scared of the IRS. Guardian Tax is the company that wins when you need it most.
Guardian Tax Service is really great to work with. They really help me out. I'd recommend them highly.
Call now for a free confidential consultation. 800-499-6623. 800-499-6623. 800-499-6623.
This is Larry Fleck, owner of The Floor Store. Our summer sale is on now. 25% off store-wide through August 3rd. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, waterproof flooring, and much more. Big savings, big selection, giant opportunity. The Floor Store, your Bay Area flooring authority.
Hey, it's Willard. Embrace the haze with Hazy Little Thing from Sierra Nevada. If you've ever stayed for the ninth inning comeback, know how to time the beer run to still make it back for the stretch. If you're up for whatever the game